Perfect.
All right, starting to stream it. You still better be there. Okay, hello everybody. Thurman and Lala podcast. Welcome back. This is technically the second one in a week because we did Sunday. Now we're on a Friday.
That's true. So we're coming back hard, which is great.
And we have a very special guest.
Very special guest tonight. So this is Viper Black from Annabelle Black.
Yeah.
She's a singer, songwriter, a powerhouse performer. She's incredible, and she had me in her band, Annabelle Black, in Los Angeles for what was it, 2 years? How long was I out there?
It was in Los Angeles about 2 years, but the band overall was 7 years.
Okay, yeah. So you've been doing Annabelle Black for a long time.
Yeah.
And just music since you were a kid.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah,
professionally since I was 13.
Wow, professionally since you were 13. That's crazy.
And that's what Steve's like, dude, this girl's got stories. I mean, he was out there for 2 years and he came back with 30 of the craziest stories I've ever heard. So I can only imagine what you got.
We told the one, I told the one, was it last week or a week before or something like that, a few times actually, but when Darius, when after the Mickey Howard show.
Oh, yeah, craziness.
Yeah, and to me, you knew him as Darius. To me, it was Eddie fucking Winslow. I had no idea that was the person we were meeting, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, the whole time. So
yeah, and I'm like, dude, if that's one night with this girl, we're gonna be able to tell stories all day.
Absolutely. So it's up. Can you turn my stuff down in the monitor just a little bit? I'm a little hot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Viper, if you wouldn't mind, do you want to go from the beginning, kind of how you got into music and how you? I have to be the one to ask questions. Okay.
Yeah. Man,
all right.
This is your podcast.
Okay. So let me just give a little background real quick. All right. One day I was at the Jug and there was nobody in there, and I was polishing bottles, and literally I was dusting bottles because there was nothing else to do. I wasn't polishing bottles. That came later. So then I got a call from Andy, Greg's brother, Andy Robleski, and he had moved out there. He went to school in Arizona for audio recording and production. Took his chances out in LA. He met you. You guys needed some more band members, and he thought of me and his brother Greg. So I got a phone call from him. He quickly gave me your credentials, which were mind-blowing. She knew Kendrick Lamar. She worked with Snoop. She knew Rick James. She was signed to, Eazy's label, Death Row, all these, and TDE. So it blew my mind, and I had to meet you. I remember calling you. I was very nervous and trying to. It was it was an audition / job interview. You know what I mean, via the phone. Yeah. And I was very nervous, and I've always wanted to.
You only get one first impression.
Exactly. So I was very excited, and then we decided you offered us the job. So Greg and I packed everything we could in our car, and we drove.
Every time you say Greg and I think of like some Lord of the Rings character named Greg and I.
Greg and I. Yeah.
That happens on every episode.
Yeah. So
that was cool.
What's that?
I said, yeah. I mean, meeting you was really cool. I could tell you really wanted it, and you were dedicated to your instrument, the way that you played it. You were passionate, and things like that. So that's really what made me decide to want to work with you. And at the time, like you said, we were trying to put the lineup back together. Unfortunately, the other guys didn't work out because it's hard when you've been playing in your hometown and you've never done the music business before.
Right. The business is a completely different reality.
Yeah, you think you can just hop right in and do what you've been doing in a small town, and it doesn't work like that.
We were
completely. You really got to work towards it.
We were completely
green. On image. You got to work on, work on image. You got to work on your dialogue. You got to work on your playing. You're playing in front of an audience.
Your manners.
You're, and if you're a guy that's like, well, I was the greatest in my little hometown, you come to a big city, you think it's the same thing. And that's the problem that I had with the other band members. They didn't really get it. So we spent a lot of unnecessary time trying to get people to get it,
Right.
when really, they should have just been let go, and I should have just got musicians for hire at the time. So it just kind of drug the band down
Mm-hmm.
to a point where, we couldn't really push forward like we wanted to,
Right.
even though we
It
had
was
the
tough.
connections.
You hear that a lot with
We had the
everything.
connections.
I mean, I tell people, I'm like, anything you like, go read about it, and it started like 10 years earlier than you think it did. Because it's like, it takes a
Yeah.
long time. People are like, overnight sensation, and the band's like, fuck you. We've been
Yeah,
around this
we've been
shit for
doing this
7 years.
forever.
Yeah. It takes a lot, and
Yeah,
it takes
I
a
mean,
lot of...
you got to work at it. But when I met Stevie, the band was ready to pretty much go, though. I
Mm-hmm.
had already done all the groundwork as far as connections and
Yeah.
things like that. These
Absolutely.
guys only had
He
to
was
really
like,
learn their
I don't know,
part.
I got to clean these bottles. I got
Yeah, I got to polish these bottles. I was like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
smashed
But
on
when
the
we got
ground
there,
and walked out.
when we got there, we had like a month to play my first gig with you guys, which was at the legendary Whiskey A Go Go on Sunset Boulevard,
was.
which I had only
And we
read
had-
about at that time, like just in amazing like books, magazines, like movies. Like I've heard about the famous Whiskey A Go Go, and it blew my mind. Like your credentials, what we were doing. I was going to Southern California and LA to be in this fucking heavy band and play my first gig at Whiskey A Go Go. I was like, I can't fuck this up.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really like top-notch stuff right off the bat.
You were cool, Stevie.
Thank
Stevie
you.
actually listened, though. Like, he listened, but like I said, the other guys, like I told them, all you got to do is learn your parts and do the job and be able to just walk through the door. All the groundwork's been done. I've already paid dues. I've already, our first show, we had celebrities showing up, things like that. So, but they just didn't listen. They just felt like something as simple as, hey, we're all black. Don't wear anything else. We're all black, because that's what we have to look uniform.
I mean, it's in the
And
name.
you got band members that just go on the stage with a white t-shirt on, didn't wear black. You know what I'm saying? So you have people in the audience that came to see us that are record executives, and they're like, hey, what's up with that dude? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like he really fits.
Right.
So then I have to try to explain shit to people, and that was stuff that we shouldn't have had to actually go through at that time. So it's kind of like
It's a different thing. There's different worlds. There's different... Because there's worlds of just like playing musicians, like working musicians, like the jam band world, where like they don't give a shit what t-shirt you're wearing. You guys are in a different thing. There's the image you've been working on for 7 years. For you know what I mean? It's a whole thing that they're joining into, that they got to conform to the thing you're already doing. Mm-hmm. But I think everyone's just got to find their right place.
They didn't really understand that. They just felt like, oh, she's picking on us, or this, that, or the other. They didn't understand protocol. Right. And so, it was like a tug of war, really. And we would spend a whole lot of time on the tug of war. Mm-hmm. Like, why do I have to do that? And why, turning your back to the audience, playing is a no-no. No. You know what I'm saying? But in my world, that's, performing one-on-one. You should know those things. But they didn't know those things, but they thought they knew.
You took a big chance.
It's two completely different worlds, yeah.
And these people and these other musicians who have came before us and after or whatever. The thing that I appreciate, one of the things I appreciate most, is that you really took a chance on some people who were very hungry for it. And that's how I consider you one of my dearest friends, and we really we went through a lot together in a small period of time. That is your life. We went through a lot, and but you gave me a chance, just somebody who was hungry.
But I hated it though, Stevie, because it was like I wanted it for you and the band members that were working so hard to do everything right. I wanted it more so for you guys even than myself, because I've been in the game forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've met everybody. I've had record deals. I've done it. You know what I mean? So I really wanted it for you guys more so, and that's why I was pushing so hard, and I seemed so like, but I was only doing it because I really wanted it. I really wanted it for you guys, and I knew it was like that close. You know what I'm saying? And the other band members just didn't get it. So unfortunately, it was just one of those things.
Were not only my band leader and band mate, but you were also what is referred to as an industry mother for me. You know what I mean? And you've had a few before you, like Mickey Howard.
I want to get some backstory. So, like, this is like a Tarantino. Like, we started with you and Stevie and everything. Like, I want, like, how did you get to this point and all these crazy ass stories and all the people you've met and everything?
How about the phone booth? The phone booth when you were 13.
Oh, yeah, I was young, and I was at a music convention in Atlanta, and I was visiting my dad. in Atlanta for the summer. My parents were divorced, so I would go there for the summer. And I happened to be with another celebrity that was actually performing there that is a friend of my family and had been for years. And they invited me to go.
And we don't
And when
want to
I got
name
there,
this celebrity.
You
It
can
was
name
actually
drop.
the Dangerous Crew at the time, Too
Okay.
Shorts camp. And Randy Austin's shorts manager had known my family, and he I was there with him, and I had all these t-shirts and hats, and I'm looking around and I'm like excited, to be there at this music convention because it's
Yeah.
like every celebrity in the US was there performing at this
And you're 13,
um
right? You're 13 years old. Yeah, that's
yeah, I'm like really, really young, so I'm like really, excited to be there. And um, I happen to be at a payphone and I look over and Easy E is next to me. And the first thing he asks me, because I'm freaking out, but I don't show it because I don't want to be all like,
yeah.
or whatever. And
Like I was
he asked
around you.
me, did I sell hats? He said, do you sell hats and shirts? Because you have a lot of, I said, no, I'm a singer. And, I wasn't really a singer. I was, singing in my bedroom, my shower, but that was pretty much about it.
Hmm.
And he said, if you can sing something, sing, go ahead and sing if you can sing something. So I said, right here in the middle of the lobby, some of the other NWA guys was with him. And Jodeci was with him, actually, one of the guys from Jodeci. And I just remember singing loud. And this lady came out of the bathroom and was like, oh my gosh, you have an amazing voice. And Easy looked at me and said, well, I want you to call me in 3 days. So I want to give you a record deal. So,
Damn.
you don't really think you're like, okay. So he gave me his number and he said, you know what, give me your number as well. So I did. And I didn't think anything else about it. I mean, I was young, so
You might say
I
that
didn't
to
really
people
think
all day. But you impressed him by
Yeah,
doing that right in the middle of the
girls are
He put
lobby.
you on the
screaming.
spot. You were uncomfortable,
did it,
and you
yeah.
Like
fucking.
girls were outside screaming, and it was insane. I mean, this convention was one of the biggest that they had every year in Georgia. So you got fans out on the street screaming because the celebrities are everywhere, like everywhere. So you got your Tupacs, you got your Snoops, you got everybody in the city at this time that descended down on this thing. So,
Damn.
I didn't think anything about it. And 3 days later, I'm back home at my mom's and the phone rings and she says, somebody named Eric's on the phone. And I'm like, I don't know. So I get on the phone and it's Easy. And he's like, this is Easy. What's up? I got my manager on the phone, Jerry Heller. I want to bring you to LA. I want to give you a record deal. Who do I need to talk to? So I'm freaking out. I say, you got to talk to my mom. So my mom got on the phone and she kind of knew who he was because of me playing music and just whatever in the house. And my mother was more of a rock and roll fan. She loved Rolling Stones and
Like,
Bowie,
yeah, you said Bowie,
Yeah.
and
Queen,
different
stuff like that.
Kenny Rogers. She loved country as well. And so she kind of knew who Easy was. She did just from me playing different things, but my dad absolutely did not know anything about, he wasn't that dad. He was a mechanic. He watched like the news and, that was pretty much it. And I think my dad, I've only heard him listen to like classical music. So she
Well,
was like, well, I
that
have
gives
to
you
get
a
her
very eclectic taste then. Because you've got what you're listening
Yes.
to, your mom's got the rock and roll, your dad's playing classical and watching the news.
Yes.
So that
And
kind
then
of
I'm in classical music lessons. I'm classically trained as a pianist as well.
Oh wow, yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
But my dad had to get on the three-way, to talk to Easy. My mother said, well, I have to call her dad. So you can pretty much understand how that conversation went. My dad's on the phone with Easy. He doesn't know him from a can of paint. Actually, he's considered a can of paint because my dad doesn't listen to rap or anything like that. So my dad was like, hell no, she's not going to LA. Absolutely not. I'm in the background crying because I feel like my dad's ruining my life.
Yeah, you're like, this was it. This was my chance. How many times am I gonna run into Eazy-E in a phone booth?
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah, my dad's like, I don't know who this dude is. No way. My mother's like, well, I do. I listen. He's a famous guy.
He's legit, yeah.
And Easy's just trying to explain himself because he's just trying to get me there. But at the end of the day, my mother came with me, and I ended up in Los Angeles. And I remember Easy actually told me the bodyguards were going to pick me up, but he picked me up. He surprised me in baggage claim, and I just remember just being like, like, oh my gosh. And, we got in the car and my mom was on the train because she didn't fly. So she caught the train out. But I just remember being in the car with him and on the way to where he was taking me to stay, which was a mansion up in Calabasas. He explained the whole thing to me. He said, anything you need to know, you need to ask me because you're going to see and hear a lot of stuff about me because, he had just broken up with Dre and it was a whole big thing. So
tumultuous time.
Yeah.
So he's trying to build his thing up, and he saw you and was like, I want her in my arsenal.
That was at the beginning of Ruthless, right?
Correct. And so he
yeah, because him and Jerry Heller went their separate way.
It wasn't in the beginning of Ruthless, no.
Oh.
NWA had kind of broken up. Dre had went his separate way with Death Row, and it was a whole lot of beef going on at the time.
Right.
So he wanted.
And they lived down the street from each other, didn't they?
Correct. At the time, in the same place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's a pretty intimidating world to jump into.
Yeah, but I was,
ready to go.
I was for it. Yeah, I was like excited. So, it was different experience. Like he really was like a big brother. Taught me a lot, put me with the famous singer Mickey Howard. She became like my industry mom, and she taught me a lot about the game. Actually, I talked to her yesterday. I sent her a picture that I took of her and Easy.
Really?
I was not on my phone. I will show it to you guys, but yeah, it was a picture I took of her and him, and I think she showed it in her biopic around that time when they were talking about her biopic recently, But yeah, he taught me a lot about the game, and just that whole ride from the airport to Calabasas was interesting because I got a chance to ask all kind of questions that, you see on TV, a person on TV and hear stuff, but to actually be sitting there with him and he's actually literally answering all of my questions was dope,
It's absolutely
and that was the beginning of my career. And, it wasn't easy working with him because he was, he was
hard on you. He expected a lot, but I think that totally turned you into the person who you are because you have the most amazing ability to be able to come up with lyrics and melody on the fucking spot. So quick. No, I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? But no, seriously, I mean, because when I showed you 1302, or at least the groundwork of, you stood there. You didn't go off into a different room. You fucking stood right there and maybe went like this for like 10 seconds and then belted out pretty much the chorus of 1302, which is available on Spotify right now. Annabelle Black. Little plug right there.
We'll put it in the
But like, I
description.
mean, you had it. And then, of course, you go back and you revise and you think of verses and shit. But I mean, like, instantly, and I thought about the stories that you told me of your training that you've had, like, when you would be screaming and crying and you had nothing left, and Easy would push you to that point where you didn't think you could fucking do anything, and then the best shit happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll even, just in my own limited experience, I'll say that, like, gigs when we would like book up the summer and we'd have like 6 gigs in 5 days and we'd be so exhausted on like no sleep. It's like that 6th set was always awesome because we were just pushed past our limit, and you get to like almost this, I don't know if it's like a runner's high or something. You break over that. If you get pushed over that limit, you get to this new place, and all of a sudden all these possibilities open up.
But when you've never been in a vocal booth and you're around celebrities, people you're used to seeing on TV, I mean,
that's fucking crazy. You
Hell.
got to come heavy right off the bat,
And especially to like when you gave it like your all, and you thought that was your all, and then he was like, "Nope." Like, I can't imagine what that was like. But I mean, because
you're looking at the celebrities and you're like, these are people you're used to seeing on TV that have sold millions of albums, and you're in the booth and they're Easy's bringing them in because he's like, this is my new artist and I want you to see her. And so, you're not ready. But he's like, well, you know what I mean? You can't fold under pressure and you got to get ready. So he's like, you're going to be able to sing everything that you write. And I said, I mean, write everything that you sing. And I said, well, I don't know how to write a song. I know nothing about that. And he's like, I don't care. You're going to know how to write what you sing. And you're going to stay in this booth all night if it takes all night until you come up with a song. And I had to sit in there with the engineer. And I just remember it being like 5 o'clock in the morning. I had been in there for like 6 or 7 hours in this booth, like crying with paper. And I remember he came in, he snatched the paper and he looked at it. And he was like, okay. He said, I know it wasn't going to be the best song, but the fact that you stayed in here and did it that's it. You know what I mean? And from then on is he brought people in to push me, celebrities that had songs on the charts to push me, and it was intimidating, but I learned how to work on the spot immediately in front of celebrities and not care.
No
And he sat
pressure.
me down and he said, either you're going to be a celebrity, a superstar, or a groupie. You can't be all three. So you got to decide which one you're going to be. I know you're a fan of all these people and all that, but you got to,
like you said earlier, you can't show it. You got to like keep your cool. You can't be walking around.
Yeah,
you got to be one of them and not like.
Yeah, you can't be like, if you're a groupie, you got to go do that, like you said. But if you're going to be with this camp, you got to be a celebrity. You got to act like it. You got to do the job. And I just remember him, a celebrity, giving me a track that I was like, OMG, I got a track from a famous producer. I mean, he was super famous at that time. And he, Easy heard the track and he said, no, this is garbage. He gave us some shit on the bottom of the barrel. Call him and tell him it's shit. I'm not paying for it.
That's great.
Like, what?
You're like, oh my God. And then like just how your dad was before, you're like, Easy, you're blowing my shot. Like, you're like, what the fuck,
I'm like, I can't call this guy who's a major producer and tell him this track is shit. Who am I? Like, he said, either do it or I'm sending you home, period.
Wow.
So that was my first test.
Yeah, it's another lesson. Test, for sure. I mean, like, not only was he teaching you just to hang with everybody and to be able to be confident, but like confident business-wise too. Which is such a nobody teaches like to have that. Which I got from you, but not, I wouldn't say as intensely, which thank you. But I mean, there was times where, you expected things of us and we would either do it or we didn't. But like the to learn the business end from like a either make or break point, and you just have to tell some producer who's done so much more than you have at that moment. And
some
be like,
13-year-old girl is like, this sucks.
Like, I can't imagine what that was like, but you did it.
It sucked.
You did it.
Because I didn't know what to say to this producer, and I called him up and I'm like trying to say it in a nice way. And Easy was standing there like, no, that's not what I told you. I told you to tell him it's shit. We're not paying for it.
You think he was going back to his friends going, oh my God, she did it. I didn't think she was going to do that. Holy shit, this chick's crazy.
Dude, it was so horrible, but I did it, because I knew either that or go home. He was like, out of thousands of girls, I picked you. I didn't pick anybody. So, he would do things like in the middle of a restaurant, I'm in there with the bodyguards, and he would be like, I want you to get up in the middle of this restaurant and sing. And it would be packed. And I was horrified. And we were in the middle of the Cheesecake Factory one day. Shari was there, actually. Bodyguards are laughing at me because they know I'm terrified. And I just remember closing my eyes and just fucking doing it. And I remember the owner of the restaurant came up and he was like, oh man, that was awesome. And you could hear a pin drop in the restaurant, And he would just do shit like that, and it was crazy, but it prepared me for where I am now. Like, I don't have any fear of shit, like, for stage or writing.
You certainly don't,
man. I've been doing it.
Yeah. I was nervous as fuck. I mean, for the whole thing, like, I was excited, but I was nervous as fuck because this was the big leagues. Like, this was, like, everything that I wanted to do in theory, and then you gave me that shot, and I drove, like, without questioning out to California, and I was like, all right, here it is, here we go, and then you were like, all right, like, let's hear it, and I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, let's do.
But you
You know what
have
I
a
mean?
true
Like,
talent, Stevie.
Steve's
Stevie,
slapping
you
the
have a
bass at a
true talent,
Bennigan's.
though.
yeah, we're at like a Denny's, and you're like, play that bass, motherfucker. Luckily, you didn't do that to me, but I mean, like, you did.
No, but you had a true talent, Stevie. You do. So I didn't have to work hard. You were the least of my problems in the band. I mean, you have a true talent, so you were able to just do the job without even, and you studied your shit. I could tell you, if you had an assignment for the band or songs to learn, you would be in there when everybody else is fucking off. You would be, sorry, cursing,
It's fine. We can curse all the
messing around.
fuck we want.
Yeah.
It's
Stevie would
totally
be the
fine.
one.
Musicians
Stevie would
fucking
be the
off.
one in
That
there
doesn't
learning
sound
his
right.
stuff.
Well, thank you. I
Uh,
appreciate that.
yeah.
So okay. So all right. So you're a kid. You're with Easy. You're in his camp. When did Ruthless come along? At what point in your career?
Eric ended up passing away, as you know.
Right.
That was devastating because nobody expected it. It was a devastating time, and I ended up actually at that time moving into Mickey's home, and
Mickey Howard.
she helped me the rest of the way, kind of like kind of continuing to groom me because Easy had made that introduction, so.
Right.
And Aretha Franklin was her industry mom. So everything she taught me, Aretha had taught her.
And then she taught you, and then you taught me. So basically, I
Yeah.
was taught by Aretha Franklin. So all right, that's fine.
Technically, yes.
My mom was so thrilled because like when I told her like the chain of command, almost like how that kind of worked, and like the history of you a little bit and whatever. Because it's funny, because remember when I told you when I came out there that I went from like, when my brother Andy, my oldest brother, I'm the youngest, he moved away, and in his bedroom closet he left like one cassette tape, and it was Straight Outta Compton. And
Yeah.
I found it,
Yeah,
and
you
I was
did.
like, rap? Like, to me, like, my brother Andy and brother Matt like introduced me to like all kinds of bands, like Alice in Chains and Black Sabbath, and like heavy fucking bands. But this was the first time like where they ever like I realized that they listened to other things than rock. So I remember one day, I don't think anybody was around, and I put in Straight Outta Compton in my boombox, and I listened to it, and then I kept listening to it, and I kept listening to it, and then one day I think my mom came home, and she heard it, and she ripped it out and tore it up, you know what I'm saying? So then years later, I was like, hey mom, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember that one time you came home and I was listening to some like really raunchy stuff, and you ripped the tape out, and it was like very dramatic for the both of us? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, guess whose band I'm in? It was just such a crazy the cycle almost, like where I went, and like I don't know, it was just so strange that like from that small but huge moment in my life to where I was with you, almost continuing a legacy sort of what was left to you and what was passed on to you by Easy.
But you know what was crazy? When Easy had me studying bands, he had me studying bands that most people wouldn't even think he had me studying.
Like what?
He would put me in a room. He put me in the room with the Queen box set. He had me studying Freddie Mercury.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what he had me studying.
Well, that's like you said, the classically trained. Like, I mean, if you're going vocalist, that's the top of the heap right there. Like, that's,
Yeah.
that's what he wants.
So,
He wanted, yeah.
That's what he wanted. A lot of people didn't know that. So that's why I know if he was alive today and he was able to see what we were doing at the whiskey shoot, he would have been front and center. He'd have been so proud. He'd have been so happy. So that's one reason why I keep going, because, the people that pushed me, really wanted to see me succeed. So I'm like, well, even if we don't get a Grammy, we'll get somewhere.
You certainly are the hardest working person I know in show business, next to this fucking guy right here next to me. And no, seriously, I mean, and I see where you get it from, and it made an impression. And I knew once I met you, I mean, you were super cool. You weren't like, I mean, I was intimidated just for the whole experience, and because I wanted to do well by you, but like, I mean, just your professionalism, and just like, you weren't a dick about it. You were just like, this is it. This is what you're going to do, and here's where we're going to go, and I made it so. And I'm like, all right, let's fucking do it.
And like you said, you were in this from 13, so like that's like your life. Like you had been in this, you've been living this life. You know what I mean? So you were bred
Yeah.
into it. You're born, you grew up in it. You know what I mean?
So okay, so you were signed to Ruthless, right?
Yeah.
And then after Eric passed, Ruthless was kind of dissolved, almost you could say,
Gone.
right? And
Yeah. We all
so,
know the end of that, how that ended.
I
And
know
then, you
it's
know,
tragic. So
a lot
then,
of people weren't happy once we left, but we had to do what we had to do because it was no longer the actual family that had been formed. And
I can't
you
imagine
know,
how
we kind of
devastating that
all
was.
went our separate ways, but we all stayed in touch, you know, a lot of us. I ended up actually doing a couple songs with Busy after that on his solo album, and you know, we just kind of all kind of scattered, but we kept things, you know, kept
Hmm.
in touch. Just put it like that.
Right. So then,
Like to this day, I still talk to Rhythm D. Like I talked to Rhythm D not too long ago because he's putting together a um a special also about Easy, and they had
really,
called me about it because I have footage of
mm,
me and Easy actually that I don't think anybody
no one
has, but
else
I have
has.
it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so Rhythm had called me about that and this show that he's gonna be on about Easy, and it's an authentic. It's all the authentic people that really knew Easy, that was really, really, really close to him. Not the Hollywood shit, but the real shit.
Right.
And so he had called about that. You know, Rhythm was the one that did Real Compton City G's, the last song that was really a big hit for Easy.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, I still stay in touch with their, you know,
Well,
most of
that's
the
good.
people. So
Absolutely, that's amazing. Um. So okay. So I used to have a Ruthless Records shirt, right? You were with me. We were in Hollywood one day, and I bought it.
yeah,
Which is kind of fucked because it definitely wasn't licensed to them or anyone. Like it was like some,
right.
some like really shitty T-shirt shop, but
On
I
the down
saw it.
low road
But I
side,
loved it. It
road
was
on
orange, and
Hollywood.
the and
Yeah.
the and the thing was yellow. Exactly. And like so, but that was a much smaller Steve at the time, so I couldn't wear that. But I decided to rep you and wear this Death Row shirt because after Ruthless, you can you explain how you ended up how from Ruthless to Death Row? Like how did that
Well,
journey happen?
I can't tell you the fine details of how I ended up there because then I would have to put out uh someone else's unfortunate business. So I
Okay.
will just go on to say that I met Suge while trying to solidify a deal for someone else.
I have a feeling
I was
every Suge
pushed.
Knight story kind of sounds like that. It's like I gotta leave a lot of
Yeah, it
this
was one
out,
of my
Yeah.
especially if this is being
it was one
recorded.
of one of one of my dear friends from the streets. He's like a big brother to me that sought him out and said, "Hey, you know, that's your opportunity. Go up to him and tell him you know you need a record deal for you and you know not for me at the time for this person." And I said, "I don't want to go to Suge Knight. No, you know, it was like Suge and the whole entourage. Like he's in a red Rolls Royce. I mean, they're
Yeah,
just
it's
dashing into
intimidating.
this club and my friend is like, do it, just go up to him and this and that. So I just remember tapping Suge on his shoulder. And I remember him turning around with a cigar in his mouth. And I'm looking like, seriously, like, you know, I said, I really need a record deal for such and such. And he kind of frowned up and said, "Be such and such?" And I said, yeah. He said, for sure. He said, come to my office tomorrow and bring them and we'll discuss, you know, what's going on and get it right, you know. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, so I went and told the person, and they were like, you're shitting me. And I'm like, no. And so we went and he sat down with us and he kind of straightened out that person to help them. And that's how and then he said, well, what do you do? You're the one with the big mouth. And I said, well, I sing. He said,
Yeah,
well, he said, I have a girls group that I'm going to put you to be the lead singer. And actually, Ramsey Lewis, if you know who he is,
Yeah, absolutely. Ramsey
his
Lewis
son was
Trio.
over the group. And so I ended up joining, and that's how I ended up at Death Row.
So
And
were
that was
you
a whole thing.
you
That was a
were
whole thing within itself because I got a chance to be in some of the death row meetings that got intense. So,
Oh man.
yeah,
but you've got
Oh.
to record. I
and
mean,
I got
you've had tracks with like Snoop and Pac, right? Or you met Pac or like
I did a remix version on one of the tracks of that Tupac had done, a song that he had done with Pac and with Snoop and Jodeci actually. And we got a chance to do the remix as the girls group, but it was just like being at Death Row itself was hectic
I'm
because you had to, it got kind of grimy a little bit sometimes.
It's
You
in the
couldn't be held
name.
like a
yeah,
sugar.
I mean
It's not like Pleasant Smiles Records.
yeah, Death
No,
Row.
you had
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
when a meeting was called, your ass better be in that meeting on time because you got
Yeah.
dogs running in and everything, literal
Well,
dogs.
that's
Like you
why
see
they
people running in with
got
their
to such a
dog.
level. That's why
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
what they are.
you got artists with pit bulls. Everybody's running into this meeting before the door closed. You know what I mean? And if
Yeah.
they catch your ass, which some people's asses got caught before, not getting there on time, and it was consequences.
Wow.
But Suge, I've never had an issue with. He was sweet as pie to me all the time, and he was a great guy to me. So I don't have really anything bad to say. And most of the time, it wasn't even Suge that was instigating most of the stuff that went on in these meetings. It was other people that had beef with each other
Mm.
and celebrities, and
Yeah.
they would hash it out in the meeting, and it would get
Well, it's
ugly. You
his
know what I
business. If
mean?
you didn't do anything wrong by him, he had no reason to be nothing
And
but
I,
good to
I
you.
was
You know,
I
if you
got a chance to take a picture on the death row carpet where it says death row in front of
nice,
Suge's death.
that's
And I
cool.
don't think anybody has that picture, but I got it. So I was like,
That's amazing.
so when I do my documentary, I'll put it out. I'll show it.
So
Uh,
okay, so obviously, well, maybe not obviously to some people, who knows, but I mean, Death Row Records was a pretty famous um, record label, and that kind of ended a little tragically, to say the least. But so then, okay, can you explain what happened between Death Row and TDE?
I went into London actually before TV. I was in London working with an artist named Brian Harvey, and he was like the Justin Timberlake of London. He was in a group called E17. They sold out Wembley Stadium, and then he went solo. So they brought me over to write for him, and that was interesting because I spent 2 years there. It was great. I got a chance to perform there. I got 7 of my songs on his album, placed on the album and stuff like that. But his name is Brian Harvey, and that was really cool because I'd never been abroad. And then when I came back, Two Shorts manager said, "Well, I have a gig. I have someone that wants to meet you, and he's putting together a record company." And that was TDE,
Mm-hmm.
but it was no TDE at that time. There was no label. I was the first artist before
The
Kendrick or anybody.
first artist on
on top.
TDE,
Wow.
on Top Dog
Yeah.
Entertainment.
But there was no Top Dog Entertainment. We didn't even have a logo or nothing yet. I mean, I was the first
But I mean,
artist.
that's
So
incredible. Okay, because everyone I meet or just know is fucking virtually just obsessed with at least one or a few of the artists on TDE. Right?
okay,
I mean, Kendrick
right?
especially, but I mean, I met J-Rock fans, especially SZA, Sir, Schoolboy Q, like I love Schoolboy.
Yeah, they've had quite the roster.
Absolutely. And so when
Some of those artists don't even know where it actually started, though.
mhm,
A
Yeah.
couple of them do. Kendrick does and J Rock, but when we got to the Scissors and Schoolboy Q's, I was gone by then.
mhm,
But it was one of those things where I was the very first artist. Like I was the guinea pig artist. I was there every night. Me, Top, and one of his cousins who, we were trying to work the boards and the Pro Tools and do everything ourselves and record, and that's how it started. And then he decided, well, I'm gonna start bringing in other artists, see what it was like. And I remember when Kendrick came in to audition, so did J Rock, and as you know, Stevie, I took you to meet Kendrick
mhm.
and J Rock,
Yeah,
and
that was absolutely incredible.
and
So
I made sure that you guys had backstage passes, and Well, it was Top, but I
Right.
made sure
Well,
that everybody
shout
was
out
able
to
to get in.
Top because he's done a lot for not only that, but I mean like us as a band as Annabelle Black. I mean, Top really helped us out
He
in a
did help,
jam
yes.
like a,
He
like
put us in a studio. I mean, he's always been, been a help and, saw, well, even after I wasn't on TDE anymore, he still continued to help and
right,
support
absolutely.
and, to say good things, even Kendrick, you know what I mean? So, shout out to them
Absolutely.
and all of
I
that.
think
I
one of the
will, like
craziest
always,
feelings I think
huh?
I ever had, one of the craziest feelings I've ever had was when we were in Annabelle Black and you were in a car with Top and Kendrick and you were listening to Annabelle Black music
Yeah.
that I had played on, and I was like, "What? Like,
Yeah.
what did you just say?" You know what I mean? And it's so crazy because my niece Eva, shout out Eva, she got me
Hey,
into Kendrick. Yeah, you met Eva. She got me into Kendrick. I think it was like 2 months or like it was the summer. I think we moved out in October into LA. Like that's when we got the phone call, and Eva got me into
yeah.
Kendrick like the summer before. I had heard the name, blah blah blah. I never like looked into it, and she like her and I would hang out at night and we listened to the music and she would show me a lot of Kendrick stuff, a lot of TDE stuff, and I fell in love with it. And then when I got that phone call, that magical phone
Well,
call.
this is the daughter of Andy who left you the Death Row tape.
Yes,
Or the
exactly, exactly. So
NWA
it's
tape,
it's
yeah.
the circle is fucking nuts for
Yeah.
me. So Andy, who left the Death Row,
The
not the Death Row, the
NWA tape, yeah.
NWA
My
tape,
bad.
straight out of Compton. His daughter Eva, who you know,
Yeah.
like she's the one who got me into Kendrick. So like it's
But
so
she was the reason why I got you guys in that concert because I hate concerts. I don't like going. So when you told me she was a huge fan of
yep.
Kendrick's, that's when I called Top and I said, "Hey, I got some fans that really want to go to the concert." So he said, "Okay, well, let me know how many you got, and when you get to the gate, I got the guy that'll meet you there." And as you know, he met me and gave us
Hmm.
all the passes and stuff like that. And you guys were able to go back and
Yeah.
take pictures and meet Kendrick and just I think J Rock first and
J
then
Rock, yeah, he was
Kendrick.
around because Kendrick, I think,
Yeah,
was going on, and Eva and I had went and saw Kendrick like a month before he performed around at Darien Lake around Western New York. So we saw the show in its entirety. It was amazing, and then I was like, "Hey, guess what? Do you want to go to Kendrick again?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "And do you want to meet him?" And she was like, "Yes." It was absolutely mind blowing. It was so cool that she got to like meet all you guys finally and like put a face to a name and everything and see everything.
yeah,
Um,
that was a cool night. We had fun, and I remember Top called me afterwards and said, "Hey, did your people have fun?" I said, "Yeah, good looking out and stuff like that." Because I knew Kendrick was super hella tired, but he came out
of course,
anyway, and
because he
he met
fucking
you guys.
destroyed and he's like the biggest rapper on the planet. He just won a yeah, what would you say, a Pulitzer,
A Pulitzer? Pulitzer? Pulitzer?
Pulitzer,
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer?
Pulitzer, yeah.
I've heard it
Well, he
several
just and
ways.
then I remember that it was just his silhouette,
Mine's
and then
around
it
here somewhere.
exploded. It exploded. It just said Pulitzer Kenny, and I was like,
Nice.
Yeah,
like it
that
was
was a
amazing.
great. They had great graphics. I told him, I said, "Wow, dude, I was blown away
It
with the
was it was
graphics."
otherworldly. I mean, like
Rich.
everyone, the championship tour is what we're talking about, and like everyone.
Yeah,
SZA, I think when we went, she was. I think something was going on with her voice.
with her voice, so she didn't get a chance to make it. Yeah,
Right.
at that time.
Yeah, at that time. But like it was still we got to see everyone else. It was incredible. But okay, so you were saying, all right, so you were TDE's like first like kind of experimental round, whatever.
Yeah,
So when
and I ended
and
up
he was
doing
K Dot
songs
at the
with J
time, right?
Rock. Me
Wait,
and
so
J Rock did songs. Me and Kendrick did songs together, as you
right.
know, because you heard a few of them
Uh
or
huh.
whatever. So we were just kind of
Amazing.
playing around, trying to see where it could go. And at the time, Top was trying to come up with the name, which he did, TDE, which is him.
Hmm.
Top Dog. And then he started getting different people to draw logos to come up with a logo for the company and stuff like that. So it was interesting, because I learned a lot also in that, being in that situation as
Well, that
well.
was like I mean it's. another it was an indie label essentially, right? I mean, and then it
Mm-hmm.
blew up to
Yeah, it seems like it started as like 3 people in a room trying to figure out how to,
it's exactly
doing
what
the
happened.
shit, doing it all yourselves, and then look how big it got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my mother got cancer at that time, and that's why I ended up having to leave the label. And once I got to back to my hometown, I just didn't want to go back and do music, and I felt like I didn't want to do R&B anyway. I wanted to do rock and roll, so
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Top should give it to a female that really wanted it.
Mm-hmm. In
Like
that
we were
genre.
saying before, like everyone's got to find their right spot. You got to
Yeah.
you find your niche. You find your right spot. Like you said, Kendrick was K-Dot for a little bit, and like you try different stuff out, and then when something clicks, you just grab on and hold on.
Yeah.
So
you
I
don't
remember
want to get a Grammy doing something that you don't really
that you're not into.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're
Okay,
signed up. Then you got to tour, and your whole life is dedicated to this thing that you're not. The passion's not behind it, and people can tell. People can feel that. Even if they don't know, they're not musicians or anything, they can tell when someone's not really believing in what they're doing.
When the
Not
artist
feeling
gets
it,
to
right?
that
Then you
one
can't switch
song,
up
Yeah.
later and be like, oh, I want to do this now. You got to stay true to whatever it is you start out doing.
right? You
I don't know
signed
if I
up to
played-
do.
Did you ever hear the song I did with the game featured on of mine?
Yeah, yeah. You
Okay,
showed
so
me that.
that was a song that Top had put together and everything, and it was really going in a cool place. But like I said, once my mom got sick with cancer, it kind of put my mind in a perspective of doing exactly what it is I wanted to do. So,
Right.
I called Top and said, I really want to. I don't know what I want to do at the moment, and then I told them once I came back into it, I really wanted to do rock and roll. They thought I was crazy, but they didn't really. He didn't really understand the history behind me as far as the rock and roll side. So,
Well, that's why I found it
once I
so
started doing it,
fascinating because
he-
like your parents like were well, okay, say your mom really was the glam rock and roller, and I see that a lot
Yeah.
in your performance and your style and the makeup and the you know what I mean, like the wardrobe, everything, and then.
yeah,
To me,
he
it was you have been you've lived this entire life, this whole hip hop, R&B, whatever they needed you to be, you were trained and you did it and you enjoyed it. Not that you didn't enjoy it, but like then you decided you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be rock and roll, and not just that, but like this unique force in rock and roll. And so many people that you knew were like, you can't do that. Like that's not gonna happen.
That's how everybody's
Yeah.
story starts.
Right.
That's how every great story starts. I mean, the reference I always give is the studio didn't want Marlon Brando in The Godfather. They were like, no, absolutely not. And then it became the most famous movie.
thing
Yeah.
ever.
Like, so it's like if the artist
Yeah.
believes in what they're doing, that you got to just go with it and trust yourself. Which
So
seems
to
like
me,
you do.
I was happy to be part of that. I know that Annabelle Black had started years prior to me joining, but like the way I kind of not rationalize it, but the way I kind of understood it was like your very polite fuck you to everyone
Yeah.
who doubted you in
Yeah.
your new venture, and like I
Which
got
is
to be
fuel.
a part of that.
That's fuel.
Right.
Is like out of spite. Is like really drives people to do shit.
But like when I moved there, and everyone that I met, who ended up working with us either for the first time or I had met somebody that you had worked with prior, that got to work with us. I mean, your reputation was held in very high regard. Because of your professionalism, your kindness, and your pure talent, but able to do what needs to be done, your business mindset, like it was a huge inspiration. And like,
Thank you, Tina.
well, thank you, really. I mean, this whole thing, thank you.
Yeah.
But
I'm
like,
just listening. I'm writing down notes.
but like that's what really, because I didn't realize how small of a town LA really is, and especially the entertainment industry, and everyone knows everyone, just about.
Yeah.
Somebody knows somebody who
Yeah.
knows somebody, which is enough. That's like 2 degrees
Yeah.
less than Kevin Bacon. Okay, like it's close knit. Like, so if you fuck up or if you start a reputation that you're hard to work with, very quickly that snowballs into, you know what I mean, into something that it's out of your
Yes, I know
hands
people
now.
that have been blackballed, trust me. And I've been in sessions with artists that were very hard to work with. That's why I'm good at writing on artists, but I pick and choose because it's like, it's hard to write for artists for one, because you got to know where they are in their life mentally at that moment,
Right.
even if they've had hit records or whatever. And then some can be difficult. So, yeah, you're right. You don't burn bridges because it's very small.
Hmm.
I've never done that. I've never burned bridges.
Everyone
I'm
that
pretty
it's
much friends with everybody from Queen Latifah. Like I met her, she's a wonderful person, and every time
she
I
used to
see her,
check
I'm
in
just
on you
like,
on the
really,
mansion when you were living with at Easy's mansion,
yeah.
right, in
She
Calabasas.
came
She
and
used
she
to
gave
come and
me
hang out.
great advice. And every time I see her, it's just like, wow, la, that's what they call her, like her close friends and things like that. But that was through Shari Henry, who absolutely knows everybody, and
Shari Henry is
is
one of the
a
most
great person that I
amazing
learned a
people.
whole lot from as
He was the
well.
security
So
guard you were talking about, or
No,
is that somebody else?
no, yeah,
Sorry.
Shari. Okay, she was
Oh, this is
Easy's
she was his pretty much did everything
everything,
for him.
right? When
Assistant,
Ruthless was
you
going,
know,
it was like
right.
her
She
and
was his
Jerry
right
Heller were
hand.
right.
like same level.
Yeah,
Um,
she was his right hand. She did everything for Easy when I met
she's been in
her,
videos.
and a
She
lot
was
of
in
times Easy would put me with her, and I would roll with her a lot on errands and things. So that's how I got a chance to meet, because she was in the Will Smith camp, the Latifah camp. So I got a chance to, and that's how I ended up like at her house and heard the horn blow outside, and we look out and she said, "Yeah, we're getting ready to go have lunch with my friend," and it was Tupac. So that's how I ended up meeting him.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That picture that you see that's online that's circulating, she took that picture of me and Pac at his mother's house. You know what I mean? So that was amazing. And
Shari
he's in the back.
is
I'm in the back seat behind Pac. He's driving, and I'm in the back seat behind him. And I'm just like, I cannot effing believe that I'm in. And he's playing his new song that he just put out called "I Get Around," and he's blasting it. And girls are going nuts because we're like going past and he's going slow, and people are like, oh, and this and
Yeah.
that. And I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm in the car with Tupac. Like,
But once again, you're
crazy.
playing it cool.
yeah, you're playing it cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Shari picked you up, right?
Just going to
Can
lunch.
I'm gonna explain the story of when I first met Shari, and I didn't know who she was, and I found out how like incredible her life has been, and like who she was with and everything. So she was like Easy's like right hand, and she was some of the female voices that you hear in the Chronic.
Okay.
She was
like on the skits and stuff.
yeah, and she was in
she's
Coming
best
to
friends with
America.
Dr. Dre.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's Dr. Dre's best friend. She's one of his really close friends. Yeah.
She was in Coming to America, right? She was one of the beauty pageant girls, like yeah. And so okay, so we had a showcase at our rehearsal spot, and what was that? Was that West Hollywood? I don't remember where
West
that
LA.
West LA.
I think it's West LA.
So that was like, and I come to find out it was a super cool place, but like that's where like the Chili Peppers used to fucking like throw down, and it's just amazing. So that was our spot, and the sound was incredible, and they were very helpful over there. Shout out to them. But so we had a number of showcases there where you were like, I got my friend, I got this producer, I got this person, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but we gotta throw down, like we gotta do it. So I knew we had a showcase, and like it was very like nerve wracking, but it was like whoever this person came in, I knew was important. And then the one day it was Shari, and she came in. And I think it was just her, right? And then, so after, like, I think she came in, like, we had started playing, and then she came in, she watched us, and then you were like, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. And, like, it was incredible. And I was like, who is this? And so, like, we talked for a while, and then we were all parked on the roof of this place, right? And this was, like, maybe, like, I think it was after the whiskey show. I'm pretty sure, like, we kind of settled in a little bit, and so I was still obviously very new to LA, and we were on the roof of this rehearsal studio, right? And Shari comes up, and she's talking to you. She's giving us notes, and I'm like, I don't know who she is, but I need to listen to her because that's just like the vibe she gives off. And I'm like, she knows her shit, right? So later on, I find out who she is, but at this time, I think you maybe gave me like a little bit of background, so I kind of knew like vaguely like her, like a very vague but broad spectrum, right? So like, we're up on the roof, I think we're like smoking a blunt or something, and she pulls out like a hoverboard from her trunk, and she just starts rolling.
Yeah.
She takes the blunt, she starts rolling around us like in circles. She's like asking us questions, and I see like this fucking LA like all the lights and like the sun's going down, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm in California, and look who I'm with. Like, you know what I mean? It was just so crazy, just this wild moment, and she's just circling around us with this hoverboard, just like goes to give us the blunt, but then like keeps it. Like it was so funny. And she had like she came and hang out a few times, and she would come to our shows. I remember a few times she showed up beforehand, and I kept in contact with her a little bit since then, and it's nice to kind of like reconnect a little bit. But I knew how important she was to you, and then I kind of followed suit and like just. But she had amazing things to say. I mean, about like social media and your presence and stage things. I mean, she was there for all of it. Just not even with your things, but
man.
yeah,
She had to be the person there. Easy had her doing that all for the artist, making sure we were in line and doing what we needed to do because she knew her shit, and she has several degrees, as well. Like
she's an entrepreneur of sorts.
Yeah, and she does a lot for Will Smith and Jada, even to this day, and Latifah, and I met a lot of people through her that were, still people that are very prominent in the industry. So, I just always keep my connections very, very, very
well.
close.
They all the ones that I've met through you hold you in very high regard, and through that microscope, almost we were kind of like they were like Daryl. Shout out to Daryl. I love Daryl.
I just talked to Daryl, and he asked how the band was doing. Yeah, he said to say hi to you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Daryl's amazing,
he's
makeup artist. Yeah, he's a stylist.
I mean, he's done everybody. From Halle Berry to Mickey, he's styled everybody in the game.
And he's one of the nicest people. And I remember being at after one of our gigs at like a diner at like 4 a.m. And like, you know what I mean? Just like eating pie and talking to him about his story. And like Daryl was super cool. But it's so wild that like, okay, from me and like from Western New York, right, where like shit doesn't happen, like rarely ever. We're the last ones to find out.
You guys got to tell me what happens in Western.
No, shit does happen, but I mean like that, like as far as the entertainment industry goes, like
it's not a hub.
It's not a normal thing. So like when I moved out there and then I met you and you knew all these people who it was like just their job. You know what I mean? Like I was like blown away. Like
that's where
I didn't know I was gonna meet.
You know what I mean? Like you moved to Detroit back in the day, you're gonna meet a lot of people working in the auto industry. It's like that's where the industry is. So everybody, your next door neighbor is the producer of this show, and he's, you know what I mean?
But it was mind blowing because I'm like, this whole city is responsible for my entire like entertainment. All of it. You know, like, and so it was just wild. But like a lot of the people that I met, again, held you in very high regard, and rightfully so.
But you're genuine. And I mean, I don't know, but like everybody gets the bad, especially show business, blah, 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 whatever. A lot of people are fake and phony, or they'll kiss someone's ass, or they'll be weird. And if you're genuine and real with somebody and just a real person with them, they'll hold you in high esteem and they'll want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people don't want you to be real though because they're not real. So
they want the ass kissing. Yeah, they want all that.
Yeah, and I've never been that person. You know what I mean? I had managers that would say to me, so I would always keep it on the fine line because I had managers that say you can't say that in your song, or you can't do that. So I had to let some managers go because they were just so damn scary. But it was like,
like I said, walk the line of like you got to be true to yourself, but like not just like start shit for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's people who try to stir up trouble just to get themselves attention, and it kind of goes the opposite way. People go, you're a douche and get out of here.
Well, we've also met people who like have the flash, and that's the thing too. Like that, I had to become accustomed to, which I wasn't, because I was like, "Ooh, you have a leather jacket and a Beamer," and I was like, "Oh, so does everyone else who gave up like every dollar they had just to get that leather jacket and Beamer, and to be like,
so they seem like
this,
somebody.
I do this, and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, you do," and then eventually you were like. You know, and I'm like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah, because the people that are really making the real money, a lot of them don't have anything to prove. That's why I was so proud of Top and Kendrick and all of them, because the way that they stick and move, and they don't try to prove anything to anybody or try to be something that they're not. So when Top started, getting his Bentleys and his different things like that, he really deserved it because they
He
worked their
worked
asses
hard.
off.
He worked his fucking ass off for it. You
Yeah.
told me there was when the audition process for Kendrick on TDE was pretty intense. He had to go into the office, right? Were you there? You were present, right? It was you and Top.
I was present.
And he had to freestyle, right? For what was it, like an hour?
What?
His reputation kind of preceded him, Kendrick, because he was really, really extremely what we felt were extremely talented. Hold on one second.
Sure, no problem.
If that's someone famous, put him on.
Yeah. Hello.
No, it's not man. His reputation preceded him, so it was more so of just trying to get him to sign with the label more so. And he had relatives that were kind of like, these people aren't known, dude. Like, you really gonna sign with a label?
Like a new label, yeah.
Because Dre was after him too, right? I mean,
but that was after he had signed with Top and started freestyling on all the world hip hop and stuff. But I'm saying the very first initial, he had, you got your little producers around you that work with you in the hood, and they're like family members that are like, well, who's this TDE dude? And he's nobody. You know what I mean? You're gonna just sign your life away on this guy. So that was kind of, Kendrick's thing. And J-Rock, of course, was just happy to be there because he was also from Nickerson Garden, same place that Top was from. So that was just kind of how everything started or whatever. But Kendrick was always Kendrick, believe it or not. He didn't really need much. He was on it. As soon as he came through the door, he kind of reminded me of a young Tupac because Pac was that way, to where he would always be like, if you were in the studio session and you were supposed to be out of there at 4:30 and Pac was waiting on his session to start at 4:30, he wanted you out of there. He wanted to start his session at 4:30 and be in there and on it. He had his lyrics, and if it was other people on album getting on the album with him and you were incompetent or you didn't have your lyrics written to perfection, he was like, you're off, dude. I'm putting this bitch in your place. You know what I'm saying? Pac was hardcore when it came to recording, and Kendrick kind of reminded me of that because he, not saying being hardcore, but on top of this shit, really
professional,
you're hearing stuff coming out of his mouth, and you're like, is this serious? Like, wow, he's like a phenomenal.
He has it. He is it.
Over the top. And I remember me and Todd having that conversation, like, wow, this dude is over the top phenomenal. Like this, I told him, I said, this is gonna be your star, your moneymaker, and I just remember having that conversation,
That's
but
so
I would also
crazy.
be doing stuff in the studio cooking as well. So I just remember Kendrick being like, dude, your spaghetti is shit. He'll tell me I haven't tasted anybody that can touch it. That's what we were talking about when he met you guys. Came out,
that's amazing.
I always tease him about that.
The spaghetti. Yeah. I don't know. I'm Italian. I kind of bring that out in people. I felt like, maybe he had some other things to say, but he was like, summertime, I reek of just Italian food all the time.
Let's talk about the gravy.
Hey, that spaghetti you made that one time was fucking dope.
I gotta make mine for you one day, Stevie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have special ingredients that I use. I'm not Italian, but maybe somewhere in my former life I was Italian.
You've cooked for us before, and you've come up with some pretty interesting snacks, especially for people who, are desperate in need of money. But we all I mean, you know what, actually I think it was probably a few months ago or whatever episode it was, I did show on this show the Lifestyles of Rich and Famous video that I made.
Oh, out of your car.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I forgot about London, that you lived there. No wonder you had her cameo, and that she had a very particular prestigious British accent. You did.
It was hilarious, dude. We did a lot of shit when Stevie, with the Annabelle Black thing, interesting stuff we probably didn't even need to do, but we just did it just to do it, and it was it was cool or whatever.
I mean,
we can say we did it.
Exactly. That is what is the most what I come back to the most is that no matter what happened, no matter where we are, you and I, or the rest of the band members in our lives, like for that time, that was like I did it. I was there, and I met these people, and like, and I got this feedback, and it definitely changed me as a person, and you know what I mean.
I have to tell your partner, Stevie, that I had Calabasas is where I lived when Easy first brought me to LA, and my other band member and Stevie almost got me kicked out of Calabasas because there is a no vaping policy in Calabasas. In these
Really?
No smoking, no smoking weed, no vaping, and Kyle and I did it all.
The security guard came up. No, first there were pedestrians coming up saying,
that was when I was in the middle of the parking lot, minding my own business.
Just in the whole the whole
city
town
itself,
man. The whole town.
You're not whole city, wow, dude. This is where now
you got to be inside.
Bieber,
like
and all that. So. You know,
I didn't know I'm some asshole from Niagara Falls. I'm like smoking a cigarette in the middle of a fucking plaza,
and the lady came up to you and she said, "You can't do that." And
I was like, "Do what?" Like I was like, "Is my dick out?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? Am I offending someone? I was like, "Oh, the air in which you breathe. You don't like this." I was like, "Well, it gets worse the closer you get to me."
You cannot smoke or vape anywhere in Calabasas outside, even in an apartment building. The only people that can vape or smoke in Calabasas if you own a house.
Right.
Then you can, but not in an apartment.
Well, Niagara Falls, sometimes you walk outside and it looks like it had snowed, and it's just a bunch of marbled light cigarette butts in the fucking ground in front of the bar. Like it's just a different. And in California, you do not toss your cigarette butts.
No,
that is
only
huge...
Calabasas though, not LA.
No, I know, but I know that like
California in general, yeah.
Like the litter was one thing, but cigarette butts were like a rare thing that you found in the ground because they are like it was so dry, and forest fires obviously are a big issue.
Yeah, so you don't solve that. Makes sense. Tokyo is incredibly clean, and it's like one of the most densely populated cities on the planet, and there's not a stitch of litter anywhere. It's trippy because you're like, there's so many people.
Calabasas was like smoking and vaping because our other band members said, "Well, I'm not smoking. I'm just gonna vape." They were like, "You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't." And someone called the police. I was like, "Oh my god!" So I had to talk to this police officer and tell him, like, "Dude, before you were even on the police force here, I lived here in Calabasas." Like, I gave him the whole backstory, and he kind of just let us slide. But I'm like, "Steve, you guys are gonna get me kicked out of Calabasas?"
I'm sorry.
Crazy.
After all you've been through, him smoking a fucking cigarette.
Well, exactly. Like all the things, and then I just do that. Like I did. I went to the middle of the parking lot specifically so I wouldn't bother anybody. And somebody was like, "Excuse me," like, and I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "Really? I'm bothering you?" And she had to like come closer to be able to tell me how I was upsetting her, and I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I put it out. I went back into Starbucks like when we were hanging out or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, that was wild. I remember too, because like we had parked. We were gonna go see It, Chapter 1.
Yes.
And we parked in a parking lot, and Kyle and I met up to smoke a little bit. And there was some lady who like got a. And looked around, and I was like, "There's no way she's looking at us because this is California. Like, she smells pot? Like, is this the first time? Is she a tourist? Like, And she came up, and remember the cops came, and they fucking.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I had to talk to this cop.
Right. So that was after we moved from that parking lot. Then we go to another parking lot, and then we smoke weed inside of our car, and fucking then somebody calls the cops, and you. Had to name drop like a motherfucker, and then he was like, "Oh, that's fascinating." Because you're like, "I used to live in Calabasas with Easy," and blah blah. He's like, "Really?" Like,
give him the whole story you just gave us.
Yeah, exactly, but like rapid fire. And then he was like,
the short version, but when I gave him the short version, I let him know exactly where I lived in Calabasas and all that. He knew I was telling the truth because this was a gated community, so.
You knew
it was basically that she belonged here, and she's sorry that she's with us, but we are with her. So.
For my jackass friends.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, oh no, we were going to see it. I was like, we're gonna go to jail, dude, before we even get in the movie theater to be able to see it.
Well, that's what I thought. I
The
was like, we're
lady
getting
literally
the
called the
like
police.
full authentic California experience. I mean, like we like moved out, you
Yeah.
know, I did the rock and roll thing, and then we were like in our cars, and then we were getting harassed by the police for no reason. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, like all right, LA, like let's do it all.
Pretty much. And then yeah, you got to hang out with Winslow, and that was drama within itself. I thought TMZ was gonna descend out of nowhere.
The
That
van
night
showed up.
because
Remember that was
everybody was tripping.
and,
Like,
that was the craziest thing because like, all right, it was late too, and like I did not. We went and saw Mickey. She played this amazing show at what jazz club was that? Do you remember?
Catalina Jazz Club.
It was incredible. And then I got to meet her backstage and like her camp and everything, and it was great. And the band and like they were really good. And then she was like,
But
"All
you
right."
know, Mickey in the car was just fucking around. She wasn't being serious.
Well, I know, but
the girl that
so
was
we're at this club and we're like, let's hang out afterwards. I was like, sure, where are we gonna meet you? And she's like, no, I'm riding with you. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I'm like, I just met this like star, you know, who like brought down the fucking house, who's had all these credentials. She played what, Billie Holiday, right? In the Malcolm X movie, Spike Lee's
in
Malcolm
the
X.
Malcolm X
yeah.
movie alongside Denzel. Yeah.
That's
And like,
amazing.
so I like knew all this, and I saw her, and she
Now
did like
she's
this
in
Michael
your
Jackson
car with
Prince
your-
tribute, and she's in my shitty car
With your Star Wars stickers.
with my
and-
Star Wars stickers. It probably smells like weed and cigarettes, and I'm like, oh my god. So then we go to meet their friend, and we can't find their friend, and we go to a few different spots, and I think we're gonna park outside this restaurant to go in it, but what we're doing actually is waiting for Eddie fucking Winslow. And when he came up to the car, I was just like,
Yeah, he came up to the car and Stevie's face was like, that's Eddie Winslow. So he's telling us to follow him because we're going to meet some other people. And he's with this chick, and Mickey just decides to play a joke, and she screams out the window like, "That's my man!"
yeah,
or
she goes,
something
who's,
said
she
to
goes,
this girl.
what did she say? She's like, Darius, who that bitch? Remember she got out of the car, she goes, who that bitch? And like, I was like, and because his
And the girl got
girlfriend did.
offended and was like, "I'm gonna kick everybody's ass in that car." And I was like,
And I was like, I didn't do anything. What's happening?
"Oh my gosh!" it's
And Mickey
hilarious,
tried to
dude.
get out. She tried to get out of the car because then it got a little bit heated. She was fucking around, but then it kind of got a little bit heated. She was like, Stevie, take the child locks off. And I was like, no. Like, no. Because she was trying to like open the car. She couldn't get it.
Mr. Winslow, I'm sorry.
It was hilarious.
But he, like,
dude.
came
And then
up
he
to
was
my
trying
window.
to defuse the situation. You know, Darius is trying to defuse the situation. That shit was hilarious. And I'm like, oh my gosh, TMZ is gonna come out of the bushes like in a minute.
Because
dude.
him and Charlie Sheen were like super good friends, right?
They are, yes, yeah.
And I'm just like, my mind's blown, and he's like at
And I'm
my.
like, Stevie. And Stevie's like all shocked. And I'm like, Stevie, this is every day in Hollywood, dude. When you hang out with
Not for me. Like I saw this like
celebrities are fucked up. Like,
classy
everybody's
jazz
out
show,
there.
and then all of a sudden I'm in dirt Hollywood at 2 a.m, and Eddie fucking Winslow's like, yo, let's
Breaking
get
up
fucked
a
up.
fight,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, let's get fucked up. And then like my passenger, who I've just met, who is like this 80s diva, like then starts shit with his girlfriend, who gets out and threatens to fight all of us, and she would have, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
She would've won.
I just met you, I don't know who, and then he's at my window. He's like, you gotta stop, Mickey, you gotta stop. And I'm like, and I'm just trying to be polite. I'm just sitting here like, and I'm looking at Kyle,
Hilarious
and
night,
Kyle's just laughing at me. I didn't know his
Yeah.
actual name. I never like actually read the credits. I've seen the credits where Eddie Winslow's like working on the car and looks up like,
You're like, hey,
Yeah.
man, I need that thing that turned Urkel into Stefan Urkel, and we got to put her in it to chill her out.
it was wild.
Dude,
It was-
if it was a day in the life, like I just called everybody I knew in Hollywood and said, "Come on, Stevie, we're just gonna go hang out with everybody."
Yeah.
Like,
Take him
dude,
on like
you would be
one
like,
of those Star
Right.
tours.
really OMG.
Yeah, I know.
know?
You've seen it all. You have met and done it all. That time where we went
I
and
wouldn't
sought
I
out.
wouldn't trade it for the world though. I mean, I wouldn't trade any of my experiences for the world. Good, bad, the ugly, all of it
Yeah.
was relevant
And
in
like
my
I was saying,
life.
you
So
grew up in it, so you kind of become accustomed to it. So something like
yeah.
that, you're just like, whatever, fuck it. And he's just, it's new
And
to
then
him.
some shit, you know, you take some shit you're gonna take to your grave because you like, no, I can't really talk about that. But you know,
Okay.
yeah, you know, so
Absolutely.
That's funny.
But
but,
she actually, Mickey gave me one of the coolest autographs I've ever met. So when we drop her off after this whole fiasco at her hotel, do you remember this? You gave me
yes,
her
you
double disc, her live show, and I had it in my car in rotation. And I asked her for an autograph, and then all that shit went down. And then she got out. She's like, "Okay, you guys have a good night. Very nice to meet you." She was so polite. And then she went to a hotel room, and we were like, I think I was like GPSing like how to get home. And then we saw her like in the lobby, like running back down the escalator, but like the wrong way. She took the escalator up and then turned around and went down. So it was taking her like a little bit. I was like, "What? What did she forget? Did she forget something?" And she came up and she's like, "The autograph. Do you remember that?" And she took my CD of hers and she kissed it. And it was her lipstick, and I was like,
that's fucking classic.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. Like, that was it was the perfect night. It was so great. It started off classy jazz club, then dirty Hollywood, and then ended up with like the most unique fucking autograph I've ever had.
That's great.
Yeah. Very funny. So that's cool. So tell me about your partner, Stevie. You were in a group. You said you know, and everything. So I know you got a crazy story to tell me. Something about you guys.
I do.
Well,
we How the fuck do you top that?
I know, right?
All right. After this gig one time, Screech came up.
Yeah, Screech came up and did a bump of coke off of my nipple.
Screech.
Which probably anybody could actually tell that story.
Yeah.
No, I mean Sean and I wasn't. I think I was in 9th grade or 10th grade. I can't remember, in high school, and I started. I got stuck being a drummer for people. I was always a bass player since I was a kid, but I begged my parents to play the drums because my brothers and my dad, they all played either guitar or bass. So yeah. I wanted to join the family band essentially and like be able to play. So then word got around high school that I was drummer. I was jamming with people.
Matt Costello, whose family owns the Jug, shout out. He's like, you got to talk to my buddy Stevie. He's like a virtuoso. Like, he could play anything. And so he told, like, I knew who he was, but he had never met me before. So like, and I was like tenacious. I was like, we're fucking doing this shit. And like, I just like walking down the hallway, and Matt's like, there he is. I'm like, that kid? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you Steve? He's like, yes.
Grabbed me by the shoulders. He's
I'm
like,
you
let's fucking jam.
I'm like, you play drums? He's like, yeah. I'm like, come to my house today, 3 o'clock,
like,
as soon as school gets out. Come on.
I was like, okay.
Right. So we started a few bands and played around with a few friends,
cool.
and then you were playing with some people, and I came down one night, and you were like, hey, we got this little band together. Come play some keys. Like, just come hang out, smoke some weed, fucking jam. And your other guitar player didn't show up that night, luckily. And we were practicing in a music store, so I just grabbed a guitar off the shelf and we just jammed out, and that kind of became a band. And then the other 2 guys left, and then Greg came in and kind of became a 3-piece.
Right, so
and that's when we started doing originals, and we recorded an album at his house and like just did it completely DIY and started winning Battle of the Bands and playing bigger shows and festivals around here and shit. And it was really cool. Right. And like I said, still, like, that was well over 10 years ago. Like, we put that album, probably about 10 years ago at this. I think 2012, I think, is when the album came out. So like 10 years ago.
Sure.
And I just played a St. Patrick's Day gig at the Rapids Theater, and there was one guy who like asked a buddy, he's like, is that the dude from Mechanico? I'm like, oh shit, because Mechanico was the band name that hasn't, I'm like, damn,
That's
all right,
so
it stuck
cool.
around, yeah. But I like telling shitty gig stories because they always make me laugh.
Stories are the best.
One of my favorites was we were doing a Battle of the Bands, and we were the last band that went on. And at the end of our little quick set, they got this little rhythm thing going, and I'm doing the introducing the band, the front man thing, Stevie on bass, Greg on drums, blah, blah, blah. My name's Sean. And then I'm giving this impassioned speech about, like, support local music, support original music, support these artists. There's all these bands who, like, wrote music and made their own albums and, like, built it all up from the ground up. And I was like, they all came out and put their hearts out on the stage tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out. And I'm giving this big speech, and everyone's like, yeah. And as I'm doing this, I see the manager, like, talking to Steve as he's playing bass. He's leaning over, like, and she's saying something to him, like as he's on stage. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, keep supporting local music. Keep supporting original music. We love you. Thank you so much. Good night. And then Steve goes in the mic and goes, and also pizza is now for 2 for $5 at the bar.
She like, it was so shitty. Like,
because she's telling him, she's going, please tell people the pizza's now 2 for $5. We got to move it. And he's like, no, right now, really, right now. She's like, please.
and I was like,
And it was like after my impassioned speech, he's like, also pizza slices are now 2 for $5. And I just, dude, I was laughing so hard. I love that shit. I think it's fucking hilarious.
I love it. That is awesome, dude.
And we were playing.
And
I mean,
Stevie,
we've told the story,
when I
Billy.
do my documentary.
Yeah.
Stevie just doesn't know when I do the documentary, dude. I gotta put you guys' band house drama in there. I'm sorry, I gotta talk about it because Stevie's house with Greg and the other. Oh my gosh,
it
they
was
had
a
so much
fucking
band
nut
drama.
house. It was a very
I
clean
lived
nut
there,
house.
In all of my experience and everything I'm a fan of, any band with brothers, including the band I was in with him and his brother, is just it's a special breed.
It's a fucking disaster.
It always turns into me and the drummer looking at each other going like, so what'd you do last night?
Show at the band house. Stevie and them needed a reality show at the band house. I didn't live there, but when I came to visit, dude, it was always, I'm talking about like drama over coffee cream. People wanted to break out fighting. I mean, it was
because it was like
insane.
the first time all these dudes, like, you all had your comfort zones of like either living at your parents' house or having like a little apartment somewhere, like rooms with everybody, and then they're all thrusted into this new world where there's fist fights between Eddie Winslow happening and you're playing these big shows. It's a high pressure situation. They're all living together for the first time. So yeah, there's I mean, that's how reality shows are made. They're like, let's put a bunch of people in a very uncomfortable situation and watch them fucking tear each other's face apart.
Stevie was a trooper, but Stevie used to come in kind of pissed off sometimes. And we used to be like, Stevie, not Stevie.
Yeah. He's the sweet one.
I'm like, dude, man. Sorry, like I spent all the money I had on peanut butter, and then I came home and it was fucking eaten, and then replaced. It was left empty in a fucking pantry, and then replaced with a full peanut butter with the letter G on it. Like no one else could touch it, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I was like, "God damn it!"
It really, it's like two little brothers. Because it's like, you guys came from a world of brothers. I had older sisters, so like I don't know, I none of that shit. Like the brother thing, I think like you guys came from that world of like button heads and shit.
Oh, we had a lot of testosterone going on in that house.
Yeah, all nuts,
all nuts,
all nuts.
Yeah.
I think it was crazy.
Got kicked out one day because I kind of
that was
lost
nuts
it in your house one day.
That was,
and they kicked, and one of the band members wanted to kick me out,
and I was like, "Yo, shut up, man!" Like, no, you know,
kicked
like
you out of the band.
She was the fucking not out of the band, out of the house, and I'm like, she's the boss. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? It was crazy, and it was about something that they did, and then it was.
Once again, it was about Stevie. If you remember, it was about what they needed to do, and they didn't want to hear it from me. They didn't want to do the things that needed to be done to do band shit in the business. They just wanted to play the fucking songs and not have any type of like.
Which is just great if you think like, let's just fucking just play, but like,
and there is a world for that.
Your partner just said not too long ago when we first started this, there's band and business, and then there's jam sessions, and they were treating the band like jam sessions, and I'm like, dude, this is
there is a world for that. There is a world for that, but you had, like I said, like you've been conceiving this thing for years and years before these guys showed up, so you already had it all mapped out and ready to go.
It was very delicate. Where we were in our position, not only in the band, but where you had the band itself. So being very fortunate enough for you to take a chance on us because of how hard you worked. And then you were like, I heard some samples of us playing, right? Andy showed you some videos, right? You saw some YouTube shit of actually him and I's band playing like a Primus song, right? And that's how you're like, okay, I want that bass player too. And so, but like, so I kind of knew, I was like, dude, this is a new chance. This is a new start. Like, let's be who,
but
you know what I mean?
Got it, Stevie. You would listen and you would apply. Stevie always applied. He always did the job, and this and that. But the other guys just wanted to fight every tooth and nail. Well, why do I have to not be able to, why do I have to practice in front of the mirror? I said, so you can get better at performing in front of a crowd. You need to do that when no one's around. And they just fought me
And
on
that
it.
comes
Like,
from
I don't,
the sort of glam
somebody
rock
brought up,
background of the performance, and you
yeah,
know that
Right, but
whole
you
thing.
gotta get there first
Yeah.
before you can start making weird demands and just like,
yeah,
meh.
even our because we had a band leader that I brought in that was helping our band. His name is Mark Palladino. Of course, he worked with Fleetwood Mac back in the day and Elton
Bruce
John, and he
Springsteen,
was even trying
Stevie
to
Nicks.
If he
explain.
got
He said,
through.
Viper, he said, Viper, let me work with these guys. I think I can get them to where you need to. And he was even explaining to them, look, everything she's telling you is correct. Like, you need to stop fighting her on it and just do it. And I just remember them just being so angry because they just were like, I don't want to do it. Why? I need to look at my fingers when I play. And I'm like, dude, that's cool, but cannot turn your back on the audience. You cannot keep looking at your fingers on stage. You need to practice in the mirror, period.
Or they
like,
go, all right, this might not be a right fit. You know what I mean? Like, I've jammed with people who like want me to be like a jazz virtuoso, which I am not. And I'm like, you guys might want to find, you know, a jazz virtuoso because that's what
Someone
you're looking
who's
for.
more
It's not me.
suited.
You got to know, like I said, everybody's, you got to find your place. You find your niche. You find where you're comfortable, where you're doing stuff like we said that you're passionate about and you're into. You know what I
yes.
mean? If you're, you know, and that's
But
seems like
sometimes you don't want to listen to the person that's trying to
Yeah.
tell you something that's going to help you. Like me, a lot of shit I didn't want to listen to because I didn't know how it was going to benefit me, but I listened because I knew they had been in the game before me.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
where I was trying to tell these musicians, look, I know it sucks. You don't understand why I'm telling you to do this, but it's relevant. And then I think Stevie went and did some research and came back and said, hey, dude, look at Steven Tyler and how he is with his band members.
I
And
remember.
he's telling his band members the exact same thing I'm trying to tell my band members. And I think you brought that to the table, Stevie,
Mhm.
so they could understand, like, dude.
But then it got to the
it's
point
good.
where it was like Steven Tyler or fucking Aerosmith sucks or blues. I hate the blues. I was like, all right, the reference that I'm making is not about the actual like mathematical chords that would be a blues.
I made a reference about The
progression.
Godfather. We're not talking about making movies.
Right.
Talking
But
about,
I'm like,
you know,
it's the feeling. It's the whole energy. It's what they bring to it. It's the soul. And that was the thing I was trying to emphasize the most was the soul. And that's what you wanted. Yes, you wanted technical things from us and visual and whatever, but the soul was the huge. That's the magic of any fucking band.
Well, you had the idea and you
Yes.
had the whole thing, and you were bringing them into something you had already created, and they were kind of
Yes.
wanting to do their own thing. So I think naturally it was just like, all right, this ain't working. You
Well,
guys go
well,
do your
not
own
really,
thing. Yeah.
because I think they wanted to do what needed to be done, but they wanted to do it their way, and they didn't
Yeah.
know how to do that in a music business setting because
And-
they'd never been in the music business
right.
before. You
And
know what I mean?
everything's
So
a
it's
learning
different.
And that was
experience.
scary. So, like, basically, I've never been in a music business. I'm used to just getting fucked over by people who agree to pay you $400, and they're like, "Well, we didn't promote you at all, and we had 20 people show up, so here's half of the money." And I'm like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Getting
I used to
paid
get
in
dicking
rolled up
around and
bills.
playing. Yeah, exactly, rolled up Coke bills and shit.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like that's what it is. So. You were, again, like I said, like whether you meant to or not, were my industry mother of sorts because whatever you said, you had been there, you had done that, you knew the ropes, and like to
But I think the
not
last
trust
show
you
that
or
we did,
question you.
Stevie,
What's that?
I was very disappointed the last show, not with you per se, but remember the guy from Warner Brothers that came up and offered his advice at the end of the show?
Yeah.
And once again, the two members that I kept having to fight back and forth with, he walked up to one of them and said, hey, you might want to, do this and that to be able to fit in more and this, that, or the other. He was giving him advice because this was a veteran in Warner Brothers, like had been several stars.
Like,
Nobody
you
just
guys
comes
need a
up.
rabbit
You can
eating a
tell the
carrot.
difference between people who just come up to you and say, "Hey,
and
great
he
show,"
was- and
or
my
people
band
like
member-
if we
my
met
band
somebody
member
through
looked
you. Like it was legitimate. You better listen to this person. They're not just here to be like,
Right,
"Oh,
and so-
look at this fucking cool band member." They're like, "No, like this person looks like he's ready to say something for our benefit." You know what I mean? That's how I looked
He
at it. I was like,
did, and
anybody I met
ended
through
up
you,
meeting
I
him
was like,
later. But he was from Warner Brothers, and he was trying to explain to my band member, and I said, okay, this is great. He can kind of reiterate what I've been trying to say, because you're not going to make it if you don't listen to these things. It's just not going to happen, and then you'll get blackballed. So he was talking to my band member and saying it. And I just remember my band member looked at him and said, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this then. Maybe I just shouldn't do this. And I
Which
remember
is
the
what
guys who
I
wanted
would
to
think in my
listen.
head, but not say out loud.
No, you.
I mean, devil's advocate, like you're saying, like I was saying, like there's times where I'm like, all right, I'm not the right fit for this particular thing. I've been asked to join bands that I knew I wasn't the right fit for, and you go, you know what? I know that that's not gonna be the right fit, and we're all just gonna waste our fucking time. So I'm just gonna, but you handle it a little tactfully, I guess, right?
And
You have to know the basic 101 of the music business. Now,
Yeah.
if you're just playing in a band and you're not the right fit, or your music doesn't match, or the way you play doesn't match, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just speaking of the business aspect
Right.
of it, and the basic 101 that you need to apply to any band that you're in the music business. That the basic 101 stuff that you need to know for stage, for all of that, because it applies to everybody, not just if you're a metal band, if you're Nirvana, if you're some people say, well, Kurt Cobain had a ripped t-shirt on and some shitty jeans, like he just rolled out of bed. No,
That
somebody
was
styled him
calculated.
that was their fucking image. That's what it was at the time. But
someone styled him to look that way. He didn't just roll out of bed and come on the set. You know what I mean? There's protocol. So that's what I was trying to teach these guys, and that they just didn't get it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There is protocol in the game. I mean, and that's anything that any band you're doing, metal, Sabbath, everybody has to follow those basic rules. You know what I mean? Of performance, being professional, and all that. And you see what happens when people break those rules. They get blackballed, or they get kicked out of the industry, or end up, in a bad situation.
The one
and it has
time
nothing to do with their playing ability.
we
You know what I mean?
recorded.
It has nothing to do.
Remember, we recorded a music video for our song "Hell" on Easter Sunday, which was very weird. And we had that crew come in. They were very professional. They had that drone and everything. And we had this whole warehouse tricked out and everything, and it was incredible. And then shortly thereafter, well, maybe a month or two, we were going to film another music video for when we just wrote 1302. And you're like, this is hot. We got to go with it. We got to do it. So we booked a studio through our friend Sydney. Shout out to Sydney. And
Sydney,
she was at East West. And that's where the Foo Fighters were. And they had to clear their shit out so that we had that studio space. They were done. It's not like they were like, oh, Annabelle Black's coming.
All right,
They were like,
beat it.
yeah, hey, Dave Grohl, take a hike.
Yeah.
No, they just happened to be. I'm just trying to paint a picture for everybody, how important this studio is and how big it was, and who was there right before us.
Right.
So we get there, we go to film this fucking music video. The crew doesn't show up, and why? Because of certain people in the band who had painted a picture for themselves, or really fucked up their reputation instantly. It's not like a. I mean, they can get work. This is fucking Hollywood. Every single person there has talent.
Partner, Stevie, protocol, just certain protocol.
Right.
But
I happened to upgrade my
Before you
phone
even
the
touch
day
a guitar.
before. I upgraded my phone, and it had 1080p recording and 4K if we wanted. But so they didn't show up, and we didn't know they were gonna show up, and we were fucking so embarrassed because we're like, here's this huge fucking studio. We have this music video shoot, and the people shooting the music video had such a bad time the first time they didn't show up.
Because there's
we filmed it
shortage
completely
of work
ourselves.
out there. There's no shortage of people who need a crew to come film something.
One of the
out
greatest pieces of advice that I got was from Mark Palladino, our producer at the time. And he was like, listen, every asshole out here has talent. Every single person out here is out here because they're talented. What else do you have? What else beyond your talent? And that stuck with me. I was like, holy fuck. It's not just about who can play what and how well you can do it. It's everything else.
more,
It's your personality, because it's a small world. And not only that, but you're in a small fucking control room with these people for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days and months and weeks and sometimes years. But
Don't be a pain in the ass.
Right. And you want to have that. You want to be worked with. And that's what I learned, that was so important.
What your partner just said, don't be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that was my point.
It's that
People will
basic.
call up someone who's cool and easy to work with and gets the job done
Yes.
before they call, even if someone's like a better technically skilled musician, if they're a pain in the ass, they're not going to call.
Our
like
we
you
have
said earlier about
That's
people
my
who
point.
you've worked with who have been pain in the ass. You're like,
Right.
I don't want to deal with that.
But
person.
it does. I mean, word travels
Yeah.
fast, and like to have that opportunity and to just spoil it on something as ego, which is very hard not to do sometimes, or pride and things like that. Whatever. Sometimes you just gotta fucking eat it. Just with anything that you work hard on, you just gotta fucking eat it sometimes. We have a live chat going on our YouTube channel. You can't really see it, Viper, but one of our fans, Kevin, he says that was still a pretty badass video that we made for 1302.
Oh, cool.
We did
Thanks,
that.
Kevin.
Awesome. And Kaylee, my fiance, she
I don't know what the
chimed
fuck
in.
Kaylee's talking about.
Well, she's talking about Ozzy. Everyone's got to eat the bat.
Eat the bat. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it's protocol. Like, you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure that everybody goes to AnnabelleBlack.com and check it out. And then our
All right,
song,
right on,
Stevie,
yeah.
like you said, 1302 is on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. It's called 1302. And Stevie is one of the producers on it. And it's a great song. And, been getting a lot of feedback. Actually, I got the promoters out of that I'm going to be meeting out of California that want to put together a tour soon. So I'm going to be doing that shortly.
Incredible.
So yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. And shout out to Kyle, your partner in crime, who's been with you since day one with Annabelle Black. He's
been rocking for a minute
here right now, but Kyle, so after I talked to you on the phone, or I think I talked to Kyle first on the phone, and then I got to talk to you. So that was like the first job interview, and then like the boss job interview afterwards. But like, so I had to pass
the Kyle test.
I passed the Kyle test, but Kyle has been there. I mean, you put out an ad, right?
Yeah, and he answered it.
He
said, "Come be a fucking rock star," is what I said. And he was like, "This has got to be a joke."
And Kyle
he showed up.
had done 2 tours, right, in Iraq, right? He's in the army.
Yeah, he did 2 tours.
And he came back, and he's always rocked and rolled, and he wanted to do that. And then he saw your thing, and it was fate that how you guys met. And Kyle is like, musically, the melody and things like that. Well, you have the vocal melodies and the lyrics and everything like that, but Kyle is like the primary musical
rhythm
song.
He writes the production.
Right. So the songs that we learned when you asked us to join and to learn the stuff before we got out there were pretty much, it was both you and Kyle's creations.
Yes.
So
that created it. Mm-hmm. And a couple songs was prior to Kyle, but he came in and we changed the format of them and the sound and same things like that. So yeah, he was very instrumental and definitely a production part of Annabelle.
So
Black.
for a while it was the 3 of us out there. Yeah. So for a while you were New World Order, right?
New World Order, we were first, but then my friend, shout out to Mark Henry from WWE. They have a NWO, and I'm like, oh.
I was gonna say that sounded familiar.
Shout out to
like I didn't want to do it, and people were like, "We're using music, so you."
Oh.
Did we lose her?
It's fucking Vince McMahon. Just shut this shit down.
There she is. Hold on, she's moving now. Viper.
I don't know if you can hear us.
We might have to call her back.
She said NWO when they were like, zip,
cut
it.
Vince McMahon's like, I'm coming out of retirement. That's it.
All right, let me try
call her
to
back.
see if I can call her back.
Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us. Thank you.
Okay. Hey. So, how you doing? Did you ask people if they had questions?
So somebody says that they cannot hear anything.
Well, it's back now. Yeah. I muted it for a second because we were
Well, this could be delayed too.
Yeah, that's still. Yeah, they're on a delay.
Sorry. This is.
They can't hear.
No,
they can't hear.
No, they can.
Good. I think we're good. I think it was just on.
We'll fix it up later. We were like mid NWO conversation, and you just totally froze, and we were like,
We're like, oh no, they're coming for us.
Is she also a mime? She's very good. This is incredible. She's.
You guys look like brothers, like literally. You guys look like brothers.
I think because there's a very bright light to light us up, so we both are just very white.
Yeah,
Usually, I'm just the white one.
Yeah,
he's Italian.
I just haven't olived up yet. I haven't been exposed to the sun as much yet.
I think between the time I spent playing in a band with him and his brother, I'm sort of the surrogate Matt LaBarber. While Matt was on the West Coast, they needed to like fill that void, so they threw me in the mix.
Well, you got to see.
I like your goatee. It looks good on you. You should always
Thank you.
that.
I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm in part of the Dollar Shave Club, and they're just stacking up because I'm like, quarantine, fuck it.
I can't grow a fucking mustache. Mine does grow, but it's blonde. Everything else is brown. So like it looks like I don't have anything but like a bunch of shit on the top of my lip. It's like weird.
Yeah, right, Stevie.
I look
you
like
never said that.
No, I swear to God, Matt.
God damn it.
Sorry, there's a cat.
Go.
He comes and goes.
He's giant.
No, I look like I should like. I don't know. If I had just my mustache, I look like I belong in a kitchen, like permanently. Nothing against chefs or anything, but I mean like a dingy kitchen.
Like you should have like an accent, and people
Like
be confused that you didn't have an accent.
A soup kitchen. That's kind of what I'm going for.
He's a line cook in a soup kitchen.
So we have a question from somebody, from Kaylee, my fiance. She says, "Does Kendrick smile more behind the scenes than he does in his?"
Kendrick's always smiling though. He's always happy. He's always a pleasant person. You meet some people in the industry and they're like just kind of whatever, but no.
He's generally one of the nicest people I've ever met.
And that's impressive because it's
answer that question, Stevie, because when you met him, even though he was tired, he was still smiling. And
that's what I was gonna say. Is like
he took the time for us.
You meet people and it's like there's people like I met this guy at an airport and he was an asshole. It's like, well, that guy just flew back from Bangkok after shooting a movie for for 6 months and it's 5 a.m. And it's like that's cool that he.
I got something to say about that. I'm glad you brought it up.
Is even if you feel like shit, always be cool.
Yes, because I learned a lesson. We were have you ever heard of Magic Mountain?
Yeah, like a theme park?
Theme park, yeah. Well, I had never heard of it, but when I got to LA, Easy took the whole company to Magic Mountain. I'd never been before, and he took a busload of kids that had done very well in school.
Yo, who wants to go to Magic motherfucking Mountain? Like that's how I pictured that going. Everyone's like, yeah.
These kids were like, these kids came from a really poor area, so he picked the ones that were really like did well in school, but they they didn't have money or anything, and he had them on a had them bust in on a bus to Magic Mountain, and he rode with a couple of them, and he had a couple of us ride with a couple of the kids, and it was like really fun. But I remember a line started forming. It was hot as hell in Magic Mountain. It was like 100 degrees that day.
Running around with him, were you getting a lot of attention from people and?
Well, yeah, you got Easy. He's way down here, and then the bodyguards are almost they're like 8. You know what I mean? And they're on each side of him. So
like, is that guy okay? He employs those people.
It's hot as hell, dude. We're riding with these kids, and we have like a pass from the park because we get to get on, and we don't have to stand in line. So a line started forming to get autographs from Easy. And I remember it's like 100 degrees outside, and this line formed, and I'm talking about people that were even old, like old were standing in line and knew who he was.
Yeah.
And the line had at least, it had accumulated to like 60 people. I'm telling you, and it was like 100 degrees. So we're all outside, like, oh my gosh, seriously, is he about to stand here and sign every autograph? He stood there and he signed every single autograph. He didn't say he was tired. He didn't say, you know what, that's it. After he got through about 10 people, he signed every single autograph. And that taught me a valuable lesson because he said without them, there would be no him.
Exactly. So I was just going to say that without them, he wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to take all these kids to Magic Mountain. Yeah.
Say, oh, I was in Bangkok with this or or this, that, or the other, or whatever. You don't get to do that. You don't get time off because when you're in public, that's your job.
The public's paying your paycheck.
Yeah.
To a fan. Never be an asshole to a fan. I seen Ralph Tresvant from New Edition perform a whole show flawless because he, those guys can really dance their ass off. His mother had just died that night. You would never have known.
Wow.
He was so professional.
Wow.
He did that. He got off the stage, signed autographs. So artists do not get a pass. I do not like when artists treat fans badly because they're having a bad day or whatever. Guess what? You wouldn't be where you were without a fan. So
like you said about the blackballing thing, then that fan is like, well, that guy's kind of an asshole.
Yeah,
then
like,
that story gets
them.
around, and then that's like people get a bad reputation amongst the fans, that's the most important. If you don't got fans, you don't got nothing.
It's not like I had tons of people, but the times where people would approach us after a show, because we'll play a show or we have in the past or whatever, and like tons of people are dancing, whatever, there could be like hundreds of people there. But like 1 or 2 people will actually come up to you after the show while you're packing up and not be a dick. Sometimes they're intrusive, not really. Like, there's the drunk falling
Yeah,
over people
drunk,
that you're like, okay, hold on, just let me pack up my stuff first, that was out of your like drink range, and then we'll talk. But then there was like people who would actually make an effort to be like, dude, that was awesome. That was a great fucking show. And I love talking to that, not just because I like to hear how great it was, but I mean, the fact that they came up out of all the people who were having a great time that night and they said, like, they took the time to actually talk to you. That felt amazing.
Well,
I mean, that's why you do it.
You make that connection with the people, and then you're like, okay, you get. Especially, we were a pretty weird band,
Yeah,
so
we
it's
were,
like
yeah.
when people got it, we're like, all right, you get it. Now you're like, we can connect and we can talk with you. You're a weirdo like us. You know what I mean? You understand this weird.
And it felt good.
we've
I mean,
made.
it felt good. Like you were putting your personality out there. Whether people realize that or not, some people do. And it's like it's your emotions on display. Yet you're throwing a party. It's crazy. There's a lot of emotions going on. But like when somebody comes out just thanks you for the thing that you've worked really hard on, that means a lot.
Yeah.
And like
And that's what
to
it's-
not take your time to be like, oh fuck you. Like,
No, dude, I'll sit out and talk to people for so long, and then you just kind of forget. You're like, oh, I gotta go get my shit.
that's how we've met a lot of friends that we have today from that.
Everybody in
specifically.
the chat right now.
Yeah.
is just
So
people that-
actually,
yeah.
speaking of the chat, Zach, one of our fans, he said cliche question, but it's not. I think it's a genuine, awesome question. He asked, "What are some of Viper's all-time favorite albums of your like that you like to listen to?"
I would like to know because you have a very eclectic taste.
I'm gonna have to go with singles, but of course I'm a huge Nirvana fan, Sabbath fan, Led Zeppelin fan. So, man, there's so many songs from. I learned War Pig at 7.
Yeah.
You know, I was that kid singing War Pig at 7. Believe it or not.
Our song
And,
Pirates reminded me a lot. It was I think Annabelle Black as a whole had a very big Sabbath influence.
But you know, they're the guy that called me to introduce me to the promoters. He was in the band for a minute as a drummer recently, and he said that he plays the songs every day at his job. And he's like, dude, but he's in a cover band. And
Oh,
they
really?
tour all over it. It's like a huge actually cover band. Mana is the name of the actual band that they cover. And he was like, dude, this promoters want to meet you, because I was telling them about you, and your songs need to be heard and be out there and just whatever. And he said that people do sometimes compare us to a lot of the sound, not saying Sabbath per se, because we could never be that, but
No, but I mean like the
Influence.
the
hear
vibe
influence
and like
in it.
some of the riffery.
Yes, and
You know
the
what I
song
mean?
you did, Stevie, that you produced, people always compare that to Zombie.
Rob Zombie, yeah. Because
Yeah,
it's
they do.
danceable. It's fucking heavy as fuck, but it's danceable.
Groove. Everything.
Yeah.
That's what Stevie brought to everything, was like you put groove into anything. Any dumbass song we would learn for like a bar gig because someone was yelling it out and we're like, fuck it, let's try it. He would add
Yeah.
this groove to it, and then all of a sudden people are dancing to a song that wasn't necessarily like a danceable song, I guess. And we would make it like this funky, psychedelic, groovy song. We pretty much just took any song, played enough of it so people recognize it, and then did
We
our
made
own
it our
thing.
own,
With, yeah.
and that was the
And
cool
just
thing.
made
There
it
was
our
like an
own. That's
unspoken
super dope.
thing that we would do live, that it was like a connection. And not to sound cliche, but like it really was. It was, you find these people throughout your musical journey, whether it's a career or a hobby, or it doesn't matter, that you click with, and not only click with, but that you're able to create with. And then beyond that is spontaneously create with. And on the fly type of shit. And Sean and I have been able to do that, whether it's jokes or whether it's riffs or fucking songs. Like, we just had that, and that's a very special thing. And then I got to have that with you and Kyle, and so it was a very special thing. And I'm glad that now like these two worlds are meeting. You know what I mean? It's like a kind of a very, I'm like a proud moment.
Let's do
like,
a song, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, we could send
absolutely.
I got my little home studio here. Me and Stevie will whip something up, send it out to you, throw some vocals on it.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Please do. That'd
Absolutely
be
incredible.
awesome. I'll get it right back to you. Let's
I
do
know.
it.
You're. I
And we
mean,
also, I didn't tell you, Stevie, we got picked up to do Hellfest last year. That's
really?
what we were rehearsing for, and that would have been like the biggest show I've ever done. And that's in France. That's like
Right.
hundred
Oh,
thousand
hell yeah.
crowd.
But of course,
And
everything.
And there's something
so
about
COVID.
I've been talking to my one buddy I'm in a band with. I'm like, dude, I just want to get like huge in Japan. And then can like just make a ton of money, tour Japan for a bit, and then like everyone in my neighborhood would be like, "What the fuck does this guy do?" Like, I live in a really nice house in a really nice neighborhood, and be like, because when you go like out of your own comfort zone, everybody in your town kind of knows you, and they don't give a shit anymore. And you go over there, it's like an American rock and roll band. That's like they love it. They'll go nuts for it because it's very.
We have an Asian fan base, a big, huge.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
love Annabelle.
Before-
the Annabelle doll.
Before
They
we
love
were,
her.
I just loved going to Japan
when we
too. I want
when
to
we
go back.
parted ways, when we took a break for like those few months. Remember, we were talking about getting ready to go tour. And I it wasn't just Japan, it was other places too, but that was like, it was mind blowing to me. I was like, that was always like a thing, like, I remember one time we had a gig here, and it was a pretty big gig, like it was like a festival, and they asked me to write the introduction for the band, and of course I did it sarcastically because I'm an asshole.
Not because you're funny. And
Right, but I'm like, how am I gonna write about myself? But I was like, we're #1 in Japan, you know what I mean? Because everyone is, like you want to get big.
What are you gonna check?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody
know?
knows,
Right.
So it was just funny.
That's
but then
awesome.
the fact that we actually like were getting ready to do that was like mind blowing.
Then people will be
That's
like,
so
they won't
cool.
believe you the next time you say it.
Yeah,
Like, no, really, here's the fucking chart.
I swear to God.
But that made it funny because, like, not only like musically, like, yeah, funny. Like, we've always just laughed our. That's how this podcast started. Was just me and him driving in the car all night to gigs and just laughing our asses off at the dumbest shit. And like, we got to start recording these, make it entertainment conversation, entertaining comedy, and then promote our music through that. You know.
Yeah, that's. I mean, so
hopefully
we had this
it's
show. We had this show since.
A long time. It's been on and
2011,
off a long time,
2012, and then it went on and off. Like, it stopped when obviously I moved to California, and then I came back and we started up a little bit, and then I went to the academy, and I don't know, things happen. He's been like, he's the hardest working fucking dude in Western New York when
I'm
it
very
comes
tired.
to music. And just entertainment, he has content beyond belief, and it's like, it's inspiring and also exhausting.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff I've been doing lately.
I'm jealous. I want content, dude. I'm jealous. I
You
even like
ha-
you guys' background is awesome back there. I like that. Whatever's going on in you guys.
This is his
My
studio.
base,
This
yeah.
is Thermopolis Studios.
Yeah. Well, I've also like been helping out like with the whole quarantine situation. Like I kind of had to jump on the technological side of it a little bit, doing stuff like this, doing the podcast, so I'm recording. So a lot of bands who like gigs went away, they were like, "Dude, we need videos. We need this. We got to submit a video to this." A lot of festivals became virtual, where they're like, "Hey, record a video and send it in." And people want good-looking, good-sounding videos, and I can do that for them. So I've been able to help a lot of my friends out too. Shout out Roy G.
That's
Biv.
cool.
Roy G. Biv, yeah. So this, I mean, the whole quarantine thing, like, I was laid off of work, and then we went back to doing the show because we were like, why the fuck not?
Well, I
Like,
also figured out we were doing it over FaceTime, made it a lot easier too.
Well, no. So at first, we started just recording it like how we always did and just threw it out just as audio. And then I went back to work, and then we stopped the show for a while. And then you were like, yo, man, he has another show called Captain's Jug of Thoughts, which is fantastic. And he started doing it like via like FaceTime and being able to produce it live on YouTube. So then he was like, let's do that. And I was like, okay, let's try it. I just got this new
It's
MacBook
fun.
and fucking
It feels like we're having a little party. We got
Yeah.
the live chat going. We got people talking. We're having a little party.
And it's
fun.
added this whole new thing. And now, like, there's been people that I've known that have been like, I love podcasts. And I'm like, oh, listen to mine. They're like, listen. And I'm like, well, we didn't, it's not videotaped. They're like, well, I like shit. Like, I gotta be like visually.
You have to
I'm like,
see
what
us say the thing.
Yeah, like, who wants to look at us all the
We're
time?
not really doing anything interesting. Just
No, but, like, the fact that
occasionally he
it
drinks
just-
while I'm talking and I drink while he's talking.
But you know what I mean? It's a new element to it. So this has been a relatively recent thing for us because for years it was just audio, which that's what podcasts were. And then it has developed into this thing. And now we're sort of on par with everything else. But I mean, honestly, like I show up and I talk shit and I tell very embarrassing stories. And you know me, I'm not
that
shy.
people connect to, because everybody has those stories. You tell them.
Yes,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? In a very funny way.
And so like
Man,
what's that, Viper?
No, I said no. That definitely. I agree with you guys.
But yeah, I mean, so like, but the technical aspect is it's all Sean, man. Like what, like I always now when we recorded as Mechanical, we didn't. The studio was not here yet. It was Greg. I met Greg in Niagara County Community College, which was I don't know. I never ended up pursuing my audio recording degree because everyone in there was a fucking nerd and already knew everything before, and I was the only person actually learning at the speed. And then the professor was annoyed with me because I wasn't one of the fucking like people, like, you know what I mean?
But
so
what
like,
we wanted to do, what we wanted to learn was we wanted to get out and start playing gigs, because that's what we wanted to do, and where we weren't going to learn that sitting in a classroom.
no,
Which
absolutely
now
not.
I'm like, fuck, I should have took one of them classes.
But that's how I met Greg. And then when we had Mechanical before Greg, and then we lost 2 members, and then it became a 3-piece. And then that's when we were like, okay, we can write stuff and we're gonna record albums. So we did it completely ground level. Like had no idea what the fuck we were doing. Even artwork, we had our good friend Sarah Battaglia. She came up and she did a bunch of like promo shots of us, pretty much just for different things. And then we ended up using one of her shots that she did on our album. And like, so, but like, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Greg had the audio recording and production spot down, and we recorded in his house, which had his brother Andy and his little brothers and his mom and his dad, who all hated us recording because we were loud and weird and annoying.
Yeah.
And but like it'd be funny because we'd be like ripping, and then all of a sudden like his mom would come up and like serve us like little hot dogs and mac and cheese on like a little fucking.
And I'm doing vocals, and you guys are like, you gotta be badass. You gotta be a fucking rock star, dude. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, like, no, I don't want any chicken nuggets right now, Mrs. Fribluski. Thank you. Like,
And if you listen to that record, you're like, these guys recorded this in hell.
yeah, and it's like
No.
so not.
That's
you
bad
know,
funny, but
I
that's-
mean, it's just using what you have at the time
yes.
and being able to create with, in sometimes very harsh circumstances, whether it be no money, environment, time constraints, anything like that, and that
Or
really,
under pressure.
exactly, and that really helped me when I came to you guys and joined Annabelle Black, like, and it was like a whole new world, but it was familiar in the sense where here's your job, this is what you gotta fucking do, this is what we have.
You gotta roll with it.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry, Stevie. I know it was very intense, and you had
No,
to learn all
it
good.
was good. It was an amazing experience. Like, when I say it was intimidating, it's not a bad thing. I was intimidated because this was a world I've always wanted to be in, and I've always like read about and I wouldn't say studied because I didn't study shit, but I mean like I absorbed almost through information and just experiences, reading things, playing, doing
And
whatever.
it's also the particular group of people that you brought to the table. It's not like, oh yeah, we're gonna go record with the Osmonds. You're like, no, this is the most badass motherfuckers who've ever existed.
right.
Yeah.
And so like I took that with a huge, like, I mean, it was a load for sure. I took a huge load. I can't believe I just fucking said that. Huge loads in the face of just experience, just in my eyes.
See, we think it, he says it.
So
No, but like
I have a question for both of you guys.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
A question.
Go for it.
This is kind of off the radar, but I would like to know you guys' view on when do you think that as a music and bands and all of us, like, we're all in this together, kind of like with the pandemic. When do you think that we'll get back to because it'll not be the normal back. It's going to be a new normal. So when do you feel like we'll get to a new normal?
I think slowly there's gigs
back.
happening where there's like, distant shows, pod shows. We've done, gigs at like the guy I do the other podcast with, he owns the bar in Youngstown, and they just built a huge outdoor stage, and like they have a lot of outdoor space. We've done gigs with my band Friendly Foes, like as, pretty consistently down there at least. because we followed all the protocols.
There's like
So it'll
limited
just-
capacity places.
Exactly
that
what
are
he was
getting
just
back
saying.
to-
Do you think we'll go back to like the Woodstock
like a
type
packed
thing?
fucking crowd of people sweating on
Yeah.
each other. I hope so. Yeah.
I don't think that energy will ever go away. I think the desire for
people
that
are
is still
hungry
here.
for it, man.
For sure, but
Yeah.
everyone's got to do what they have to do to make sure that can come back.
Everything he was just saying about doing is like, these are the circumstances. Let's roll with it. Everybody
Right.
has to stay seated. So I went on Amazon and I bought a bunch of giant bouncy balls with like the handles on
That
them,
was
and we pass them out to the crowd so people can like.
so they
they're
can dance, but like
but they're
not,
still
but
seated.
follow the rules.
So
yeah.
the bar's not getting
Cool.
fined,
You gotta
and no one's passing diseases around to each other.
improvise. You gotta adapt.
Because we're like a super
Improvise,
funky,
that's what I was
yeah,
gonna say,
we're a
yeah,
super funky
improvise.
dance band. It was weird to play a gig where everyone's sitting still.
So-
and I was like, no.
Sean's in a group, one of his many groups, but he's in a duo, and it's called Friendly Foes. And I sent you that link the other day, and
Okay.
and it was it's just him, and he does a lot of loops. He plays guitar and he sings and he makes beats. And then he's got our friend Pete who does percussion. He's playing the bongos and all kinds of shit. He's got like
That's
a washboard, and like he used to be the percussion
Very
player in one of our
unique
bands
band,
called the
yeah.
G-Spot Punchers. And so Pete's an incredibly unique individual in of himself. But so what Friendly Foes does is they have their own original stuff, but they create jams and songs that you would know live in front of you, almost like a DJ experience, but with instruments.
With a jam band, yeah.
So the
Oh,
video that
cool.
I sent you was when the two of them they covered "Humble" by Kendrick, and it fucking slapped.
Oh.
I mean,
Because
like
that beat, yeah, because I use Logic, so I got the 808 drums and everything, and as soon as we hit that beat, you'll see like an 80-year-old grandmother in the crowd just like, like,
it fucking
it's
hit.
just
I mean,
it's
they
an
do.
effective
They're
beat,
all
yeah.
over the place. They'll play like a Fish song, and then the next song they're playing fucking Kendrick. But like it flows,
We're
like
weird.
a DJ. Like it's the live DJ experience with actual instruments. So it's a very
But
unique.
that's what Dr. Dre said, that when you put together an album, put it together like you would a DJ set, and you're gonna win
how
every
it
time.
flows into
That's
itself,
Dr.
and yeah.
Dre's advice.
I mean, I love kind of like the history of what he did with everybody. What how hip hop came to be was like all these dudes got a hold of like these like Swedish like Japanese drum machines and sampled all their parents' old Sly and the Family Stones records and made a fucking culture that took over the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember
Like,
you
that's
and I
just
were
awesome.
talking. We were like, we would love to raid Dre's parents'
Parents'
record
records. 'Cause
collection.
that's where he got all this stuff from.
You
Yeah.
know, like how cool. Like I love to listen to people who have influenced me, like what their influences are. There was a dark
Right.
period in my life where I was like, what does Billy Corgan listen to before he goes to sleep? Like I was like, I have to
Does
know.
he sleep upside down?
Yeah, I know. He's a fucking vampire. But like I love that shit.
Blackballed.
I'm sorry. There was
you
also a very
imagine
great
that?
video of Billy Corgan on a roller coaster, and it's just a sample from 1979 where like the roller coaster is going up the thing, and he goes wee, and then they continue the sample from the song, and just and so the roller coaster is going down and just going wee.
There's some pretty creative people out there.
Yeah, I love the internet.
Awesome.
I love it. So Zach says the Friendly Foes played an awesome Led Zeppelin cover last night.
I'll have to go check
So,
it out.
Sean does a lot of live, like this whole.
Well, yeah, the
Friendly
pandemic
Foes-
hit, we started doing live streams like exactly like how we're streaming live now. And we'd get all our friends are in the chat shouting out requests. They start talking shit to each other. It starts to feel like a virtual gig,
like a
I guess.
community.
It keeps it together. It's not like, all right, wait until this opens up. It's like, well, we got to keep doing something. You know what I
So
mean?
Foes never stopped. Like when everything shut down, Sean turned his basement into. I mean, he had this basement studio, but like he really transformed it and adapted with it like this. And that's what the two of you always like. You reminded me of each other and your willingness to not be told no. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, to
And
do it
That would be-
ourselves,
that's why I
too.
asked you
And-
guys the question, because I'm like, it's always a way to be innovative and make it happen, man.
Make something
I don't
happen,
take, I don't make excuses.
well, some
I
people
just make it
some people
happen,
are
you
like,
know?
here's my situation and it's easy for me and let's do it. And then when it gets hard, they're like, sorry, I can't do it. Like that's just my thing. Like
Yeah.
that's their out. And people who are real creators, artists, anything will find a way. And so that's, like how we were saying with adapting and just figuring it the fuck out. Like with Mechanico,
Yes.
our first album, we had no idea what the fuck we were doing, and there wasn't really any restrictions. We didn't have like a fucking date. We set a date for ourselves, but like that was when we were like, oh shit, like people are, gonna
So
like
that's the song I want to do with you guys. That's the song I want to do with you guys. I want it to be called "Figuring It the Fuck Out."
figuring the fuck out.
That's
I like it. That's a really good starting point. Seriously,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for like
I
honestly,
think that's a thing a lot of people would connect to because everybody is trying to figure it the fuck out right
Figure It the
now.
Fuck Out.
Yeah.
Yes.
and that's
So
the
song
unique
we're gonna do. You guys
experience,
send me
yet
the
it's a
music,
familiar
I'll write
thing.
the lyrics. You guys send me the music and we'll do it.
I would love to, Kyle. So
He said Thurman Edison.
Thurman Edison. So like that was what I loved about Kyle too, because Kyle, that motherfucker rolled with the punches, dude. Like,
He will. Yeah.
and he always has, and
the
like I
trenches.
think the military definitely helped him with that because
Yeah, the experiences he had watching you two fight over peanut butter. Fuck that. Like,
yeah, like it
Yeah.
didn't matter.
He
Like,
was infantry. He was infantry. You have
He
to
was
say
in
that
the
because
shit, man.
He's like, dude, this is easy.
but he is the nicest, most easygoing person. He's so kind, and like he's just awesome, and like. And he has this ability to write this heavy shit. And like, you'll look at him and like, you'll know when it's kind of like you, like if we're writing something and we know it like hits, we're just like,
yeah, it's
you
an
know, like
undeniable
our faces
feeling.
are just like,
Yeah.
and Kyle would be like, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that is it. Like, and that's
it.
to have that connection, to have that experience with somebody. And even you and I, like, if I knew if we were playing a show and you started dancing like next to me, I knew that I was onto something. You know what I mean? I knew that we were hitting it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was
Yeah.
it. That was
Me
kind
and
of like
Stevie interacted a lot on stage. Me and you interacted a lot on stage
Mhm.
because you had the same energy as me. A lot of people don't really, I don't know. A lot of people, they get on stage, but I don't know the energy level. I don't know. I just go to 1,000, and so do you. So that was good for me, when we were on stage together.
But that's like I'd be in it and I'd look up and then you were like doing your thing or whatever and I was like, yes. I'm like, this is it. Like we're nailing it.
Who said somebody?
Yeah.
Somebody said if you're not having fun, no one's gonna have fun watching you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
one-
Absolutely.
one
Whoever said
particular
that,
show-
tell them, yeah, tell them I said, yeah.
One particular show I did bring up on our podcast before was when we opened up for holy fuck, who was it?
Don't say Udo Dirk Schneider.
Oh yeah, the German fucking.
The
oh my.
crazy
OMG.
neo-Nazi
Who
experience.
booked that? Who booked that?
Well, we had a manager for a time.
Balls to the walls. That's what he's known for, Udo Dirk Schneider.
Yo,
That
we
show
straight.
was
I remember that we listened to the song. Off.
They were like the German AC/DC, but like I don't know,
Yeah.
Europeans don't do
All
AC/DC power, so
heard
it's
from the
weird.
crowd was, Udo, like.
Yeah, they were shouting for the other band when we came out, but remember they treated us like shit. Like
The band.
they didn't give us a back room to change. Like you had to go change in the fucking bathroom where like everyone else was going to take a piss. Like this,
Yeah.
talk about rock and roll. This
They
fucking
didn't
girl
give
did
us
it.
any food, dude. We had to watch their crew bring in the food.
We had to sit next to their food in the rain and watch it. Like we weren't allowed to have anything. It was pouring rain.
So weird.
Yeah.
Just as a human,
It
wouldn't
was
you
a
be like, "Hey, you
stadium,
guys
dude.
hungry?"
This wasn't
But
like a little thing. This was like a stadium.
I forget like which one of us it was, but we were like, yo, have you noticed kind of like the skinhead like kind of proportions to everyone else? Like we're like us in particular. Like, have you noticed that? And
Not a lot of Rogaine, I guess, in Germany. I guess Germany
No,
hasn't
it's-
gotten the Rogaine yet.
you can
Dude, I was just
the
like,
lights were
fuck it.
reflecting
Then
off of the
you
audience's
so-
head.
And did the intro, Stevie, and the intro was badass that you guys did. So man, by the time I ran out there, I didn't give a shit. I'm like,
No, but
Yeah.
by the time because they were like rooting for us to fail. Like so we got out there and they were cheering for the other band that we were opening for. And we just went out there, we wrote that intro and we just did this thing to like kind of like cuz obviously she's the feature like
Yeah.
And so we did this thing, it starts slow and almost psychedelic but like heavy and then it builds up and then she comes out and does her fucking like this howl. And then we go in I think we started with Pirates or something, that Sabbath-y
we did,
song I
and
was
then
thinking.
the crowd got into it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then I think it was by the first or second song, people were like, Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Like okay,
And
You
then
turned
Udo
him.
came
You
out of
turned
his
him.
Yeah.
dressing room. Udo Dirkschneider came out of his dressing room and clapped for us on the third song.
yeah, yeah. He did.
Yeah,
That's right. But at first they were treating us like pieces of shit, and
shitty. Yeah.
like okay, like I get it. We're opening band. Who the fuck are they? Never met us before, but like I mean, it was like blatant disregard for just human decency.
It was.
You know what I mean? It was like odd, and this is like the biggest show that I've ever played. You know what I mean? Like it was a
I know I'm
huge,
putting on fishnets and shit in the bathroom, and it's women coming in.
yeah, like like it was not. It was everything was against us at that show, but the sound was incredible and whatever. I mean, this was like post. I mean, we had played the Whiskey maybe a few times at this point, like so we had gotten to our vibe of playing live, but this was the biggest venue. At the time, and like,
And you know, Top Dog hooked that up he hooked me up with that promoter that got us that. You know what I mean? So that was kind of pretty cool.
Right.
So it worked
So
out.
we did it. We worked it. We
about the rock world, but this guy says he does. So maybe he has a show for you guys. You know. So he called me and said, you know, I hooked up with the guy on 3-way with Top, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, I got a show for you guys." And that's how we ended up getting the gig.
And it
or
never
whatever.
rained in Southern California, but that day it was like Jurassic Park rain. It was like
Wow.
fuck, you couldn't even see. And then the band, like, so we get there, we load our shit, and then the band just made us like wait outside. Like there was like a catering tent section, but like nobody was out there because it was dripping, like it was just fucking soaked. It was torrential downpours, but like they kept Annabelle Black out there. The only reason that you weren't was because you were in the actual like public restroom changing into costume for the performance.
Yeah.
But I mean, we made it work. That was the whole point of this, is that we did it. We made it fucking work.
And you were put up against a goddamn wall that you just
Literally
busted through.
everything. It was storming. We were versus like fighting Germans. Who, you know what I mean? Like it felt like, you know, I was like by the strength of my grandfather, like let us.
The greatest generation lives again.
I think Viper answered the phone during a
Is she
interview,
looking at
which
the TV?
is fine. Is she on the TV? What did you say?
And she's watching TV. There's her foot.
Kevin Gibbs, thank you, Viper, for giving us your backstory and story of Stevie's experience
I
out
told you
there.
guys, hold on 1 second. I had to.
You're good.
No, it's okay. She's a businesswoman. She's got to do stuff. Kevin, one of our fans, says, thank you, Viper, for giving us your backstory and the story of Stevie's experience out there.
Cool.
Kevin's been a big fan of the show, of our bands, of everything that we've done, and he was very supportive of me when I went out there to be with you. So it's really cool. Like I said, I can't thank you enough, Viper, for being on our show, and and just like having these, I guess 2 worlds now are one.
Also educational for any young musicians who are looking to get into this thing from someone who's lived it. You know, they can
Definitely.
Yeah.
Or
That's
whatever.
definitely
Can Viper? Can
Yes.
you? Okay, so you recorded with you recorded at or with Rick James. I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, me and Rick James and his daughter. Yes.
Right. Can you
we
give us
did
that
one of
story?
Okay, so
I
me
love
and
this
his daughter
story.
were hanging out. Shout out to Ty James. She's awesome, but she's a really good rapper. And she, I met her through a mutual friend, and we decided to do, her and one of my producers at the time decided to do one of Rick James' songs called Bustin' Out. And it's one of his hit records.
Yep.
And it's, I won't even say it's on the B side because it was a hit record. You know, it's
I
not
know
one
the
of his
song. I know.
super
We
hits.
jammed to it like last weekend in the kitchen at the pizzeria that I pick up hours at.
okay,
Like,
so
trust me, I know
if
that
you're not
fucking
good,
song.
Go listen to "Bustin' Out" because that was one of Rick James' one of his hit records that wasn't like super freak, but it still was really popular.
Dude, Rick James had so. Once I realized you could dive in past like Mary Jane, Super Freak, or Give It To Me, Baby, I was like, holy shit, he's got so much more.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy, like, you know what I mean? Once I realized that, like, you could dig in, it was like, it was past the radio point, and I was like, Rick James, Buffalo bass, why don't I know more?
Yeah, Buffalo
and
native.
I did, and I was like, holy fuck. So I'm sorry, continue.
No, I mean it's a short story, and she was going over to actually because we you have to get permission to do songs sometime, especially if you're gonna change the lyrics. If you're just gonna do the song, a lot of people probably don't know that. But if you're gonna cover a song the exact same way, then you don't have to get permission. But if you're gonna change the lyrics and
Yeah.
change the structure of the
Or
song, then you have to get
sampling
permission.
too. If you're gonna sample it, you need to get clearance and
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
And so that's what we were all gonna do, and we were getting busy bone on it and all that kind of stuff. So we had to get permission from her dad, and so she was saying, "Well, I had to go over and do my dad's hair today. You should go with me, and then we'll play the song for him and see what he thinks and see if he'll get on it." And I just remember going over with her to her dad's house, and she was like, "Now look, when we go in here, my dad's wild." So just letting you know.
I love like the cautionary, like the warning, like listen,
Yeah, dude,
my dad,
warning.
like is my dad.
It's fucking Rick
Everything
James,
you've heard
yeah.
about him
Yeah,
is
like
true.
my dad is off the chain, but I'm a super 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 Rick James fan, so I'm like I don't give a shit like what's going on in this house. I just want to get in there and meet him. So I'm trying to play it cool. She's like, "What's up, dad?" And he like lays down and I mean not lays down. He comes to the door and he lets us in and he sits down so she can do his hair. One second, guys. It's like a lot going on. Like right when I'm trying to
It's cool. It's
That's
fine.
okay.
It's
at the
fine.
door. So just give me
Don't
2
worry.
seconds.
You
and I'll
opened
finish
up with the best hook possible. We are caught. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Our audience will wait.
Yeah.
But like, so when I heard the list of people that she had just been a part of, or a party to, or even recorded with, or done songs,
Yeah, it's
like,
insane.
dude, it blew my mind. And like, so just the selling point, like it was like Kendrick, Snoop,
Yeah,
Tupac. She has writing credits next to Michael Jackson as well.
Wow.
So she's done it all. She's been there. But like, then when I actually got to know her, as like at first when we got there, it was, we have a gig to do. We have this whiskey thing we got to do. And she wasn't like stone cold, but she was like, okay, you guys know your stuff. Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
rehearsal.
Let's not fuck around.
Yes. So then as we got that, we got the initial okay from the people that she brought to showcases and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then we were like started to settle down a little bit. Then we got to hang. And then she would just like casually tell me stories, because this is her life. This is like things that it would be like me telling you the really embarrassing, gross things that I've done in my life. But like hers were like otherworldly, like the things, like the people that she's met and whatever. And like, it was just mind blowing. So the more that I talked to Viper,
I'm sorry.
no, it's
No,
fine.
you're
I
good.
was just explaining, like,
Okay.
the more I got to
So-
know you, the more stories that just kept blowing my mind. But the more normal it became to me, like, you know what I mean? The more normal I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, she has this fucking crazy story about
So I
Rick
have to
James.
tell you the Rick James story because this is so hilarious because I'm such a Rick James fan,
Okay,
right?
that's
we
fine.
go
Okay,
in,
go ahead.
And she sits her dad down to do his hair because he has like the twist and everything, and her dad is like talking major shit, like like he's Rick James. And
He's Rick James,
sitting there
bitch.
like, "Aw, dude."
Now she's like, oh, everyone does that quote, dude.
Yeah.
Steve's like, fuck you. I'm sorry, how often can I do that to somebody who knows Rick James?
So, so Rick James produced Party All the Time. He had a studio in Buffalo for a minute.
Yeah.
And I think maybe when Party All the Time came out, that was at the time he had his studio. So I'm theorizing
think?
that song may have been recorded in Buffalo. Maybe even the iconic video.
No shit.
And it's probably like a fucking Allstate office or something now. So I'm proposing this to the fans. Find out where that was. Where was Rick James'
Find out
studio?
where Party All the Time by Eddie.
Well,
So
he
Rick
had a
James
studio in Buffalo for a bit.
So Rick James is sitting, and his daughter's doing the twist, right, on his hair. And I'm just sitting there in awe because I'm just like, oh my gosh. And the producer who did the remake of the song for us was also with us. And there's this bird. Rick James has a bird named Lady. And this bird was cursing its ass off. Like,
Really?
super cursing,
Oh,
right?
shit. That's awesome.
I never heard a bird curse. I mean, he was saying some shit that I don't even think, some words I didn't even know, right? So I'm just, oh my gosh, if there was ever going to be a bird, right? This is definitely
Rick James Bird. Like you would just know. And he sang, if you remember when Dave Chappelle played Rick James,
Yeah.
Rick loved it. Like that was, he loved the fact that Dave Chappelle did that. So I guess he would say it sometime in the Bird, like learn that shit. And he would just be like, I'm Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch. Like, you know, this man is like super cursing, right? It's like hilarious. And then, you know, her dad started kind of like talking to me and like, yeah, you know, we're gonna go out on the town. And she's like, Dad, I told you, like, you know, you shouldn't be like talking to my friends. So it was just like wild, right? So
The Bird's like, what's up, girl?
We finally played the song for him. And he was like, I love it. I fucking love it. He was like, I never like when anyone does in my shit. He was like, but you guys did it justice. I love it. You know, this, that, or the other. And I was just like blown away, like, oh my gosh. Like, so even to this day, if they do a Rick James story biopic, his daughter says she would definitely want to get that song in the
Awesome.
on the soundtrack.
But he was you mentioned he was rather friendly.
James,
yes,
man, he's fucking.
He wanted to, you know, he asked, you know, he loved
It's
women.
Rick James.
I would assume the man has a high success rate.
But you know, he wasn't.
I know. I just
there.
can't imagine. Like, I mean, that blew my mind. Like, because to me, and growing up in high school, like Rick James wasn't like a musical person to me. To me, it was Chappelle's show. And then later on is when I got into the music, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this guy is fucking
no, he's a musical
unreal."
genius.
Yeah,
Absolute
like
genius.
I mean, the things
Absolute
that he
genius.
produced too that I didn't even realize that he had writing credits on, like so many things. But to me, like my introduction to Rick James, like I always knew that you know, "Give It to Me, Baby" and "Super Freak" and shit, and it was always like a fun wedding song or something.
Dude,
but
I
like,
got a chance to tell him that he was a musical genius and how much I was a fan. I mean, I did get a chance to tell him that because I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later he was gone. You know what I mean?
wow, wow.
So I got a chance to do that, and you know, that was the highlight. Like, shout out to Ty James because she's awesome, and she's actually back on the scene now doing her thing. If you
Good
go
for
to
her.
her, I think it's I am Ty James on Instagram. But
Shout
yeah,
out.
man, that happened.
Kevin
like,
says
That's cool.
"Party All the Time" was recorded in Buffalo. Not sure where the studio was.
So some things have happened here.
Yeah.
yeah.
So okay. So another story that again blows my mind. Okay. So you
Don't ask about boyfriends, Stevie. 'cause I
No.
can't tell you.
Trust me, it's not boyfriends. It could have been
Okay.
actually sort of somebody who wanted to be, but it didn't happen.
I want to know what happened to this bird.
All
I want to
right.
get the bird on
I
the
know.
show.
I need the bird.
The bird
I
sounds
need
like a
the
great
bird.
guest.
The Rick James
If you
bird.
ever need another host, if I can't do it one week, just get the bird. He's going to sound
would
just
love
like me.
the
He's just going to
fact-
sit here and curse.
Oh my god, I would love Rick James's bird. I would have a whole conversation, just a whole show.
Or FaceTiming.
Even if he said
with Rick
5 things, I'd be like, "This is Rick James's bird." Like that's
He's
incredible.
talking to us.
Yeah, you guys need a bird on the show. straight up.
Fuck yeah. That needs to
Rick
be
James
our.
Bird was so gangster.
Yeah.
Rick James Bird, I'm telling you, it was super gangster. I was just like, oh my gosh, if this was gonna be, you would know that this was Rick James Bird. Like seriously. And her name was Lady. And he was just cursing it out, and it would curse him back.
That's a
You know
very
what I mean?
ironic name. It's
Yeah.
not a very ladylike bird.
So okay, so Viper. All right, you professionally knew Shaq, and
I did.
Yes, you did, and he was a very nice gentleman. And he, I don't know if our audience is aware, he put out some music back in the day,
He
right?
did.
Oh yeah.
So can
I
you?
was called in to work on that album.
Right.
Correct.
Can you
And that's the
kind of
pictures
like
I showed
explain
you.
like
We
how
have
that
them.
even happened and the
There was
process and where it went?
I have a manager. Rest in peace, Big West. He just died last year, and he was my manager at the time. And there was a producer named R.J. Rice working on Shaq's album as a producer, and they needed someone to write the lyrics because Shaq was not feeling what the girls or whoever the writers were they were bringing in. So they brought me in, and I remember the producer saying, "Oh my gosh, Shaq will be here in 30 minutes, and dude, you have to write something that he likes because if not, I'm going to get kicked off the project." So I'm just like, well, oh my gosh, like, okay, let me hear the track, because I write, if I can feel it, I can write it. So, I listened to the thing and I said, well, damn, what the hell is Shaq going to
freaking talk about? Like, it ain't too many things like, being in the hood is not like, like, okay.
Right,
So I
fucking
thought about it
Shaq.
and I just came up with something really kind of, just kind of fun. I'll just say it like that. It was fun,
Witty.
and whatever. And I'm like, either he's gonna like it or he's not, or whatever. So I wrote it down really quick, went in the booth, sang it down, did a demo of it, and Shaq showed up and pretty much like clockwork, 30 minutes. So I went upstairs to the kitchen in the studio. We were at a studio, I think it was Larrabee on Santa Monica at the time in Cali. And I just remember being upstairs and I'm like, if he doesn't like it, oh well, my bad, sorry for the producer.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
mean,
I
you
mean?
gave it a
Because
shot, you know?
actually the producer of the track he already had a famous song out in the 70s and 80s, something like that, I think, called Shackles on My Feet. So this producer wasn't like a newbie, he had been on the scene, but
So
he
he's
really
just doing
wanted
a
to be on
remake
this
of
project.
Shackles, but SHAQ apostrophe LS.
No, was Shackles on My Feet was a huge, you got to look it up. It was a huge song, I think
That
70s or
sounds
80s. And
familiar. Yeah.
RJ Rice
Okay.
was the lead singer, and it's an old school song, you know what I mean? But this RJ Rice was the one working on this Shaq project, and he was already kind of famous from his era, Detroit, Michigan. And so, there's the next thing, Shaq comes up and he's like, "Hey, did you wrote that song, the song downstairs?" I said, "Yeah, I just wrote it." He was like, "I'm feeling it." He was like, "You think you can do another one?" And I say, "Yeah, sure." So we go downstairs and go in the booth, and the producer's blown away because he's like, "Oh, yes, yes." So he started snapping pictures of me and Shaq. And it's funny because I have one of Shaq and he has earphones on and he's like way tall. And like his
Yeah,
feet
he's
next
huge.
to my feet, his feet are like size 16 or some shit. So I'm looking at his feet and we're in the booth and it's the funniest freaking picture. And I think the picture I showed you, Stevie, we were sitting at the console or whatever.
It was like they
This
almost
is
had to
last
like
week on
extend the studio by 3 feet, like the ceiling, because he was in there. It was like no, the studio was not built for somebody as big as Shaq.
No, and it's so funny because Shaq's in there flirting and shit and talking shit. He's that guy, and it was just fun. I ended up getting on 2 records, and I got paid, and got
Hell
my
yeah.
name and my credits on the thing or whatever. But it was really fun working with Shaq. He was fun to work with, and
Yeah, he seems
yeah, and the
fun.
producer got his wish. He got on the album, and everybody was happy, at that
That's
time. But
incredible.
it was
I just
funny because Shaq was, still playing in the NBA, still playing with Kobe.
he was
And
huge. I
I
mean,
actually
the
happened to
biggest.
see them. I happened to see them both out after that at a
Him
spot
and
in
Kobe.
Shaq and Kobe together. Yes, at this little spot in LA after that, and got a chance to kind of like hang out. And Shaq's stepdad was there as well, so
Wow.
that was kind of cool. But yeah, that was an
I think
interesting thing because the producer kept trying to push me like, why don't you holler at Big Shaq? And I'm like, dude, we like know some of the same people. Absolutely not. It's not gonna happen. Like, I came here to do a job, like, so
I know.
that was
I just
interesting.
when I heard that, I mean, I'm smiling ear to ear right now. I'm all beat red. It's just like it's fascinating that just the life that you've lived and the people that you've met and the ability that you've like the talent that you've been able to just not only use for yourself but for other people, and the fact that everyone you've worked with, I don't think I've ever met anybody who has ever said a bad word about you. Not just because it's people that you've introduced me to, but I mean other people like they've heard of you, they know your work ethic, your professionalism, and not only that, but your personality is just nice.
Well, I
And
can be like raw when I'm working, but I'm
well,
silly.
of
You know what
course,
I mean?
yes,
It's all
I've
funny.
seen you. Um,
Sometimes you have to be.
But
for sure, I've definitely seen that side of you, but we all have that side, and I know. I don't think I've ever seen that side of you directed towards me, thank goodness. But I've
no,
been in the
it
room
wasn't
where
towards
it
me.
has been like a group thing, and like I am part of the group, so I'm like,
You're catching shrapnel.
right, for sure. But like, I mean, for a good purpose, and like, but that also, like, I mean, that builds character, that builds things. I mean,
And that's
that
bound to
me,
happen with any band. Like, you gotta
anybody who
clear
works
the air, clear the
closely
bad
together,
blood.
lives together, does their thing. I mean, that's the
But
hardest part about a band is
But Stevie,
bunch of brains in one
the
direction.
main thing is you gotta love it. You have to love this, because if you don't love it, it's not going to be beneficial to you, and you'll feel like if you don't make it to where you want or whatever plateau, you'll feel as if you lost something along the way. But if you love it and you have fun doing it,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. You know what I mean? And all the little gems along the way are just stories that you'll tell one day, that or whatever.
That's what I
and
think.
that's
That's
it.
great. What you're
And
saying about these
my
little things is like the Shaq story. You go, you know what? I got my credit. I got paid. I had a good time. I got a cool Shaq story. Like now me and Shaq are
yeah.
friends. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's
And
incredible.
it's like every little thing I've ever done, I've cherished it. I've learned from it, everything. I mean, like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
Hmm.
you have to love it. And that's what keeps you going and motivated and all that kind of stuff. You just can't take yourself too serious in the game.
No,
You
for
do your
sure.
job
You can't have
and
like
you
too many.
love it.
It's a weird balance of like expectations. So like you want to be planned and be prepared and like have a clear vision, but also be open to whatever gets thrown at you at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man, you can't take it serious. Like you
Yeah.
can't be that person that's just so like, I gotta do, there are people that were like that and they became huge stars, but I feel like maybe they had an intuition that they didn't have much time, like I said about Tupac. Maybe he
Yeah.
knew he didn't have much time, so he was
Want to get
always
it
just
done
on
now.
one.
Well, there's
He
some
was
people
always just
just force of nature. You know, that guy just had a energy
yeah,
about
he
him.
was
You know,
always
just a
on
force
it.
of nature. Yeah, that's
Unreal.
made a huge
It's almost
splash.
like he had so much to say and he felt like he had probably a short time, so
Hmm.
he was trying to get it all out.
And he has
That's what
so
I
much
felt out of it.
content, which is
Yeah,
like
he has an amazing amount of stuff. He would just go. I mean, I've read stories where he would go in the booth and they would just throw different beats at him, and he would just go all night. You know what I mean?
I remember one time where it was like a falling out of him and Dre. Of course, everybody knows that story. But I remember where he said, I don't effing need a Dre beat. I can rap over anything and make it a hit record. And I remember he said, I picked that guy. I picked the janitor. This dude sweeping. Seriously, he was sweeping the studio, and he was an aspiring producer. And that's that song. I think Me and My Girlfriend that
Wow.
Pac did. That was a beat that he got from him, and he
oh
rapped on
my
it and made it a hit record.
god.
Pac was
Fucking
a
janitor's
beast.
like, oh shit, thank God, fuck.
Yeah, Pac was a beast. He said, "I'll rap over that guy's beat."
That's
And,
amazing.
you know,
But
and that's how Pac was. And he was very intense, but he also made you laugh a lot. You know what I mean? And I
I
learned a lot from him. Easy was the silliest
you
dude I've
yeah,
ever met.
you told me
Easy
a
was
lot
a
of stories.
regular.
He was like the ultimate prankster. Like he fucked with
Yes,
you a
Easy
lot.
was the ultimate prankster. He
And he
played
loved
practical
horror
jokes, all that.
movies, and he had tons, like a huge collection of like old school like horror movie memorabilia in his
Yes.
house, like life size stuff, and that freaked you the fuck
Life
out
size
because you were a
Chucky
little
doll that I
girl,
had to pass.
right?
It's on my video. I would have to pass it to go get a drink of water. Yeah, at
To
night.
pass
And
away,
I
yeah,
would
you had
get 900
Hellraiser, you
bucks.
had Chucky in there, right? Can you tell the story?
Yeah.
My cousin had a Pee Wee Herman like doll that fucking still scares me. It had like the pull string on the back, but it was like wide eyed, and in the suit, it was fucking weird.
My niece,
Yeah, that type of shit,
my niece
dude. And
Georgia,
And it was like the same size as me because I was a little kid.
my niece Georgia used to have this Dora the Explorer doll, and she'd carry it with her wherever she went. But then, like when it was time for bed, she would still like drag it with her, but then she would drop it like when she finally like fell asleep. So a few times it would just be in the hallway, just like we'd go to visit, and there was this Dora the Explorer thing, just like staring at us. And so then it became a joke that we'd like freak each other out, so we put it outside of like my brother's bedroom or something, and it would just be staring, But you told me a story. You obviously are gonna have to please explain it. Where Easy would fuck with you, where you thought you were alone in the house, right? Do you remember that?
yes.
Right. Okay.
He loved it. Like, cause he had several houses, and this was just one of many that I stayed at, and I was the only person, because I know everybody saw
in
the
Calabasas,
movie.
right?
The Calabasas movie, the movie Straight Outta Compton, and at the end it showed that certain individuals lived in that house, and that's a lie. I was the only one that lived in the house, and Shari has gotten on record saying it to Lady of Rage.
That was very interesting because when I was out there, Straight Outta Compton, like I think it just come out, and then the fact that it was huge again, and then I was in this group with you, sort of continuing a legacy started by Eazy-E almost, and then there was discrepancies, which I was like, what? And then I realized that I was like, oh, it's Hollywood. Of course there are.
Yeah, wait for my documentary to come out one day.
Right.
They always do that. Every movie I've watched
I
is
have
based
the
on a
real
true
video
story.
footage.
But I've never
All the
been in
bullshit
sort of
That
even the
close to it,
peripheral
yeah.
of something like that. So like it was wild to me. But okay, so all right, so you
But
were in
Easy
the
would do
mansion.
shit like Easy would do shit like, cause I swear, like, I had to have a pastor send me some blessed oil because I would always hear some shit on the roof that sounded like a Tasmanian devil every night. I swear I did. And I was just like, I would call people and they thought I was crazy. But to this day, I'm telling you, it was just something crazy going on, some type of energy. And I just remember I was always in the house by myself, unless one of the bodyguards, I would sometimes beg one of them to spend the night because I was just like, I don't want to be in this house by myself. You got Chucky downstairs, you got Pinhead, Hellraiser, Easy collected all of these life-size figures from these horror movies, and I would be in there by myself, and you could hear a pin drop at night, and you want to go downstairs and get water or a snack, and you're like, fuck that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
gotta
walking
walk
past
past like fucking Michael Myers and shit.
Yeah,
like
your
no
worst
way.
nightmares. Yeah.
And so I'm like, Easy would just be like, yeah, I'm out of town for the weekend or whatever, and you're gonna have to just tough it out. And sometimes Shari would come stay, or whatever. But
And
this
Queen
particular
Latifah
night, I
too
was
would
there
come
by
visit you,
myself.
right?
Huh?
Queen Latifah would come and like stay with you too, right?
She came once with Shari and a couple of girls, and we had kind of like a powwow. It was really cool, yeah. But this particular night, I was there by myself, and I would always wait until morning to go to bed because it was that creepy.
yeah.
And so it's like I'm in the house, and I remember Eric. Eric is what I call him, not Easy, but he would call. He called on the phone, and he said, "Yeah, I need you to go in my room and get something for me." So I'm just like, oh man, you know what I mean? So, I turn on all the fucking lights. I will always have the lights on. I always get in trouble for having every freaking light on in this house, right? So I'm walking down the hall to his room, and he's telling me on the phone where to find what it is he needs. He was like, no, you got to really look for it. And I said, dude, it's not in here. I don't see it. And just whatever. And the next thing you know, he jumps out of the fucking closet. I could have just pissed on myself. Do you understand? Like,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
that practical joker. I told his daughter recently that she reminds me of him. Her name is I Am Remarkable. She's a rapper, and she looks
She's
spitting image of
incredible,
Easy. I
and
think
she
I
is a
said
spitting image, but she's super
of
beautiful.
him.
She's
Yeah,
got a lot going on. Like that's, I'm glad that you shared that with me because I followed her and
yeah.
like, it,
She's a spitting image of him, but he was the ultimate practical joker, dude. I
That's
almost
a
peed on
that's
myself.
a deep prank.
yeah, that is like
Oh
that
my
is
Right.
gosh, it was so
psychological,
deep.
Viper. That
Yeah.
is like super. I mean,
So
how
now,
old were you at this time? Was it like? I mean, was it
I was
fresh? You
still
were.
young, man. I mean, I was still fresh fresh to LA at that time. I was, he
What a
almost
way
gave
to
me a
break
heart
you
attack.
in, though. Like,
yeah,
you
And he
know.
thought that shit was so fucking funny. I mean, I was saying
he
things
ain't
about
wrong.
food.
No,
Oh my gosh.
it's
And what are
incredible.
you gonna say? What are you gonna say to that? Like,
You
he
told
would
me.
always play jokes. Like Shari will tell you, like he's played jokes on us there at the house before. It's just he's a practical joker. Like we really awesomely miss him because he was a really awesome dude. Like he really was a very cool guy, and like a practical joker. Never took life serious. And it was just so unfortunate when because he had so many things that he was gonna do. Because
Mhm.
the video game, what's the video game where you can shoot people and people get raped and all this kind of stuff?
Grand
Grand
Theft
Theft
Auto.
Auto.
Yeah.
He was the one that came up with that idea. He was doing that. He was making it like his life, like like going through the streets, people selling drugs and getting shot and all that.
Right.
He mapped all that
Well,
out.
there definitely
And
is. There's a one of the Grand Theft Autos
It's
is
based in LA.
San Andreas. Well, there's
Well,
two of them, but the first one that came out, one of the characters is definitely fucking easy. Like, I mean,
But I'm
100%.
saying before those guys
Right.
even thought of it,
Right.
Easy had thought
Yeah,
of
they
it
No
and
got
brought
shit.
it out. That was one of the things he wanted to do. You know what I mean? So that was, he had vision. He had
Absolutely.
vision.
I mean, he was an entrepreneur, And
He wanted me to dress as a Chucky doll with a knife. I have a picture he took of me with a knife with overalls on. He wanted me to come out on stage with him as his little sister. He mentioned me in an interview one day. I'll send you guys the magazine, but he mentioned me in the magazine as his little sister, and he wanted me to come out in overalls with a big ass Chucky like thing with a knife, and that was gonna be my image. And I hated it. I didn't want to do it
yeah,
because
like
I
what?
didn't
Like
understand marketing. I wanted to be like the other girls that were in the industry.
right.
So they get to wear that. He wanted me to come out like this crazy bitch with a knife, and I'm his little sister. And looking back on it, it would have worked because I would have been the rock and roll crazy ass little sister with the knife.
Right.
And that was brilliant. Now that I look back at it, that would have been some crazy shit. People would have ate it up at the time, you know?
Because it would have been so fucking left field, like out of nowhere. And then, yeah. It's crazy. I mean, because years later, here you are, the shock rocker of Annabelle Black doing crazy shit, having weird imagery. Kaylee mentioned earlier on the comments that we have, I think for Christmas or my birthday, she blew up our first Annabelle Black at the Whiskey A Go Go poster. She found it online. She blew it up. It's fucking huge, and it's hanging our hallway going upstairs to the second floor.
I want to see it. Tell Kaylee, rock on, dude. That's so kick-ass.
It was an amazing gift. But she said that it's hanging in that section of the house for a reason, because the doll freaks her the fuck out. Because there's like, so you walk up the stairs and there's like a shelf. It has like all like DVDs and trinkets and weird Star Wars and horror stuff and all kinds of shit. And she's like, this is where this poster is going to go. Like, I got it. And then I was like, oh, this is amazing. She goes, I have the perfect place for it. Yeah. And every day she walks up the stairs like, ugh. But that was amazing to me because that made an impact.
Like, Easy would love it, dude. He would love the Annabelle Black doll. He would have been like on it, dude. He would have manufactured it. He would have been like, this is it, dude.
Yeah,
like,
he would have loved the whole metal theme that you guys brought into it. He liked that stuff. That's cool.
Because he was kind of going there. If you look at the kind of stuff that he did with Bone Thugs, with the skulls and
for sure.
like that. Yeah, and the producer Rhythm D, if you ever meet him, you'll see him. He wears all the skull rings and all that kind of stuff. So he was already going towards that.
So that's kind of like where that started. That's kind of like how that interesting.
He loved it. Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I miss my bro. I miss my bro, and he would have loved you guys. He would definitely.
I mean, that's a great honor to hear. I always wish, like when you would tell me that, like it was a huge, that we would get along, guys, and that meant a lot to me. I mean, because he was such an inspiration.
We would ask him, we'd be like, we're going to have her on the show again, hide in the closet. And when she's in the middle of a story, pop out of the closet and scare the shit out. That would be so funny. And we'd all be sitting here waiting the whole time for him to pop out.
You know what he really got a kick out of? Because at some point, he was into like the whole chronic thing, and all that. And he loved the fact that LA had like the best weed, like the chronic weed that people would always be like, oh, it's not that potent, and they hit it and they just start space crawling. He thought that shit was the most hilarious. A couple of celebrities I remember just being stuck. Like after they hit the weed, they were just like stuck and they didn't even want to do it. And he was like, I told you don't look around the chronic, dude. Like, he would just die laughing. And these guys would be pissed because they were from New York. And it was like they're like at first talking shit and then they hit the chronic.
There was a story that you told me when it was you and Easy and the crew, and you guys were out, and it really stuck out with me. And he ran up like an insane tab at this place wherever you guys were, and the waitress did not think that he or whoever you guys were could pay it. Can you tell? Can you elaborate? Can you tell that story?
Yeah, the theme was insane because you got two big ass bodyguards. It's like 6'7", huge guys, right? They got like 5 plates of food. They got all the other people that he's invited, our whole entourage, and the bill was like probably $2,000. $1,000, man. Like, it was insane. And I remember her handing the bill to Jerry Heller's nephew at the table. Easy sitting at the head of the table, but she didn't hand it to him. And, Jerry Heller's nephew.
She handed it, to Jerry Heller, just assuming.
And everybody looks at him and says, lets her know it's him. And she was just so shocked. She just didn't believe that he was the guy. He pulled out the black card.
The diamond platinum, you buy houses with this fucking card.
And she just couldn't believe it, this waitress, because he's all little, like he's shorter than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it was.
Actually, Mickey Howard's calling in. I'll call her back. I'll let her know that I was talking to you, Steve.
Oh yeah, tell her I said hi. I just that fucking amazing evening.
Couldn't believe it, man. I mean, she just didn't know who Easy was, and she was just like blown away at the fact that and he politely handed her the card and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what stuck out to me too. That like he wasn't a dick. He wasn't like,
no,
are you kidding me? Like he was just like, I got like I'm sure it had happened before, like whatever. But like it just stuck out to me that like you guys were doing your thing and whatever, and there was the white guy at the table, and she handed him the, you know what I mean, like, and then you guys are like, okay, and it's cool, and like he just handed it, just did his thing, whatever, and it happened to be like,
gave her a huge tip. Tip,
And that's just, I mean, it speaks volumes about what kind of a person that he is, and just how amazing of a person that he was, and I mean, just how he transformed your life so much just in this, and like he's got all these other people that he's touched in his life, and like you are one of them, and you are one of the most unique and incredibly interesting and versatile people I've ever met in my life. And it starts with him. Now it is all you that you are
him finding you in a phone booth and saying sing.
Right. Like I mean it is so crazy how much something can change by just a snap, and now
within
here we are.
Second. That's why I tell people don't live for yesterday or tomorrow. Live for right this moment. It's what's happening right this moment is what matters. And you actually never get to tomorrow, because if you're living today, tomorrow comes and it just continues on. And if you're living in the moment, man, that's it. You got to take the time to live right now. Whatever you're doing right now, enjoy it, love it. You know what I mean? And think positive. Don't let anything get you down, because energy attracts energy. So if you have great energy and you're thinking
100%.
positive, even if it's a negative situation that hits you, it's because it's a positive situation trying to open up and get your attention. So when you look at the negative situation, look at it in a positive way, because believe me, the next thing that's coming in that whirlwind is going to be positive. It just,
and
the
negative situations can be learning experiences that become positive things.
And oftentimes it's retrospectively, it's not in the moment, and that's very hard to do. But I've seen you do it, and at the moment that it's happening, and it's not everybody thinks like that, man, and it comes from experience or even just will, or the mixture of the both. Like, you've learned a lot.
But if you can push your mind to do it, it opens so many great things in your life.
Absolutely.
You can actually discipline yourself to live in the moment and be happy in the moment. Be positive in the moment.
I think, my journey on the way to get to where I was with you, like even before I got that phone call, like I was on not a self-discovery, but like a revamping, you know what I mean? I was getting myself healthier, working out, doing my thing, just getting my mental state just better than when it was. And
yeah, the timing was impeccable.
It really was. I mean, when I got that phone call, had you called me like a month or two beforehand, it would have been a different phone call. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Or I would have given everything to go out there and it wouldn't have worked out. You know what I mean? Like,
timing is everything, though, you guys. Like, timing is very important. That's why I tell people, live your moment. Don't think about all the stuff because if you're living in the past, you can't live now.
Well, that's what I felt when you called me, and when I had that opportunity, it was like a fucking 8-ball, but every answer was yes, like do it. And like I've always wanted that, and I like nobody gets that phone call to go and pursue their dream. It's usually they choose to pursue their dream and they make it happen. They do it,
fight for it.
But a fucking phone call to invite you to pursue your dream is so rare. And I just fucking did it. And I again lived in the moment. I thought about the future, didn't think about the past, but like, yeah, there was a lot of in the moment things, and like, I attribute a lot of that to you and to myself at that moment. But I mean, you
were ready for that experience.
I was ready, and it just
ears and eyes were open, and you were ready to learn, and
And it was, and I saw you play, and I said, wow, he has it. He needs to be on the big stage for real. Like, I always compared you to, some of the, I love Les Claypool. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh,
well, thank you.
Knocking on that door right there. I'm like, you're doing his ass, And I could tell you're very passionate. And that's the thing, that everybody that I've ever been around that was great, that made great music, was very passionate about what they did. They love it. They love the game. They love the playing. They love the whole everything about the music business and music itself and the history behind it. They love it. And that's what I saw in you, because you were always referencing stuff from the past, music you listened to. So you were definitely music. You exude, like you're just that person that oozes music, and that's how I've always been my entire
oozes
life.
Music has a nice ring to it.
Oozes music. That could be our second track that we do live.
Yeah.
Oozes music. If I had a music store.
Believe it or not, my dad wanted me to be an attorney.
Uh-huh.
And my mother wanted me to be a nurse. And I said, look, if I do either of those things and I fail at it, I'm not going to like you guys. But if I do what I want to do and I fail at it, I'm good. I mean,
right.
I do what I wanted to do in this life. And I feel like people that are on a hamster wheel every day and they never take the time to do what they want to do, that is miserable. You have to take the time out of your life to do something that you love, that you want to do. Everybody has a gift, you know what I mean, and a passion. You just got to be able to tap into it. And if you're living in the future or the past, you can't. You have to live in the moment to be able to discover what it is that your gift, what you would love to do.
A lot of people don't have that realization or ability, and some things could be missed opportunities or even just talents and things like that. And I don't mean to sound cheesy, but anybody listening to this right now, there's 3 people here right now who are trading stories, telling you things that we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We just went for it.
Still don't.
We don't, and we still don't know what we're doing. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
but at the same time, I know exactly what I'm doing. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a weird that balance. Yeah,
it's in here.
But it's being comfortable with the fucking unknown. Like, it's just propelling yourself out there and just saying, okay, what have you got for me on the other side? You know what I mean? Like, here's what I have to offer.
Wandering in the forest in the dark, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. That's lovely, man.
Following your intuition, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to be able to, I learned that from you. So I got like the passion that I've always followed, of like just feeling it and doing it and whatever. But then like I saw you who had that mentality, but also was like, it's like this. You know what I mean? Like
you had the actual facts.
We had
the feelings and ideas.
We had the feelings, but you had the ability to wrap it up.
Experience too.
You know what I mean? And to be able to utilize that without letting it be absolute chaos, which is a hard thing to do because you get used to a certain way and you fucking play as hard as you can, and like somebody at a bar is just like, yeah, but you can't like, you know what I mean? Like that's great, but like use that and then take a step forward. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like use that energy. People are digging it, but like, what else do you have besides that? And everyone does have that extra thing.
Anything, even the best thing in the world gets old.
Everybody has a gift, but the thing that I love right now in this moment with me and you guys is the story is still being told. and the path is still being, you were still on the path. So right now, what we do today, and is gonna matter for part of the story, like the song
Yeah.
that we end up
Absolutely.
creating together, because I know we're gonna do a song together, and that'll be part of this story. It all matters. I don't believe that things happen by accident. I don't. You know what I mean?
I don't
So
either. I
And
really
like you
don't.
said, just the simple things can change. Just a simple moment just sends you a click this way, and then you're off on a completely different tangent. And who knows what would have happened if something
definitely.
different happened?
It's a
Do you
spider
know that
web.
I was with an old manager in New York, after I came from London, and this manager, believe it or not, is the most unlikely manager. His name is Bai. You remember meeting Bai's daughter, Stevie? And Bai is from a very his great great grandfather wrote the excerpts in the Pan African Studies Bible. Like he was that, they call him the grandfather of Pan African studies. There
Wow.
are dictators around the world that study his teachings, and he dined with the Queen in the 1800s. So
Wow.
this is Bai's great great grandfather, and he was my manager for a minute. And Bai is the funniest thing because he thinks he's Batman, right? And he's from Suriname, he's from Africa, and if you meet him, he'd be like, "What's up, my dogs?" And he's that guy. And I remember going to New York with Bai, and because of who his great grandfather was, he was invited to have dinner with the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and I happened to be with him.
Jesus.
And uh, and the advisor to the Prince of Saudi Arabia, his name was Dr. Al Mansour, and he used to manage James Brown. But at the time, he was the advisor to the Prince,
Wow.
and he was also a follower of Bai's great great grandfather. So we
Interesting
got invited
clientele.
to yeah, we got invited to go over, and I got a chance to meet the Prince of Saudi Arabia and
Holy
Dr. Al
moly.
Mansour.
Wow.
And the first thing they asked me was, because Bai had been bragging on me, and they had just did the venture with Michael Jackson, for the theme park there in Saudi Arabia, and this Kingdom Entertainment was the name of the company the Prince had done with Michael and all this. So he was kind of deeply into music at that time. And I remember him asking me, did I have any world songs or songs that could heal the world? And I looked at him and I was just like, that was something I did not have. So I
Right.
was like, I do not. I said, but you have inspired me to actually go do that. And he said, yes. He said, next time I see you, if you have a song for me that can heal the world, I will be interested.
That's
And that
incredible.
just was like, I was blown away. I'm like, this is a prince,
But
dude.
I
Like,
like
the
how
prince,
you
Yeah.
answered honestly, especially in the face of fucking royalty, which whoever has that
Prince
chance. And
Ali,
you were
that was his
like, he's
name.
like, do you have a song that would heal the world?
Yeah.
Most people would be
No
like,
pressure.
yeah, give me a second. I left it in the car. Like, I'm going to go find. You know what I mean? You're just
I
like,
did
no,
not.
I don't. But it changed your thought process. It changed
It
your
did
creative
change
spark.
my
Like,
thought
and that's huge. I mean, to be able to look at somebody that, for lack of a better word, exalted, okay, and be able to be like, no, I don't have what you're looking for, but like to have that change your
I hadn't even thought
process,
about it until you
right?
said
I
it. I
mean,
mean,
because
that was so much bigger than me or my thought process at the time, but it put me on a whole nother path. So I ended up writing a song called Save Our World, which I will send to you because my friend feels like I need to release it. I recorded it right after that. And, you know, um, it's relevant to even now, but I
well, I
just
have
think
all
about
the
I
all
love it.
confidence in the world that
the
it's
little
a
things
great
that I've
fucking
done
song.
and people I've met along the way, and it's all relevant. I don't feel like any of it has ever been by mistake, like I said, but that was real deep for me. Meeting Prince Ali and Dr. Al Mansour
Wow.
was deep.
Yeah,
That
that's
was real
huge.
deep.
It's like, I mean, you've had so many life changing experiences that like most people, you have to understand like what just one of those experiences would be life altering. To be able to meet somebody or work with some of the people that you have, and you've had
This
so
whole
many.
path of mine is bigger than me because, as you know, I don't know any
biological. The family that raised me
Right.
adopted me from the orphanage.
Mhm.
So I've never met a biological mom, biological dad. I don't know where I come from. So to me, this path is bigger than me. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
whatever this path that God has me on is way bigger than me. I feel like my whole path is bigger than me, because people are like, one day you're over here, dude, and then you're over here with royalty, and then the next day you're
Then you were with
kicking it
these
with two
fucking
boys,
schmucks in California, like
Yeah, and then you end up
stealing peanut butter from each other,
getting yelled at by a bird.
getting yelled at, getting sexually harassed by Rick James' bird. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what a life, dude. Like, I mean, it's so fascinating, and I just got to thank you on not only on behalf of us, but I mean everybody who's listening, everybody who will, anybody who's ever asked me a question about what's happened in California or what I went out to do. I mean, this I can only say so much, and the fact that you came on this show and you opened yourself up and you're telling us about everything,
amazing.
It's really, I mean, it means so much to us, and
yeah, thank you for the
I
wisdom,
enjoyed
passing the
hanging out
wisdom
with
and the
you guys.
experience.
it's
on
it's not
people.
only stories, it's just like I mean,
experience and tips and stuff from someone who's lived it for a long time,
And like you said, it's just one part of the story. It's not over, and everyone that you've met along the way has almost been a part of this ever-growing family that you've collected.
Yeah, so tell all the fans, man, we're gonna we're gonna do a kick-ass song.
All right.
That's the next thing.
Absolutely.
I'm so looking
the
forward
ball's
to it,
in you
man.
guys' court. I'm waiting on the song.
Okay.
So you guys-
All right.
We'll get to
All
work.
right.
We'll
We
get to
heard
work.
it. We got to do it.
All right.
Excellent.
So
Yeah,
I enjoyed
absolutely
myself,
incredible.
thank you for having me on the show and all that.
Thank
I
you
really
for being
had
a part of the show.
Yeah, thank
You're
you so
welcome
much.
back anytime that you would like.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out where that bird is. I'm very interested.
All right. Thank you so much,
yeah,
Barbara.
thank you.
I love you. I love the fans. Thank
Love
you
you
guys
guys.
for chiming
Yeah,
in.
thanks for chiming in, guys. You guys are the best. I love the live chat. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is. And we'll
Tell
be back.
everybody hello.
What up? Anybody who's around, I'm doing an acoustic set at the Jug tomorrow. Got to pay the bills. So it'll be mad fun.
Can I tune in? Can I tune in? Are you
Are
gonna
you
tape
live
it?
streaming it?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm definitely going to record it and put it on SoundCloud the next
That's
day.
the thing. Usually,
let me
every
know, 'cause
live
I would love
performance
to.
that Sean does, he does record it, whether it's live or
Whether it's good or not.
yeah, whether it's good or not, he does. It's
Well,
content, and he
yeah.
puts it out there. So I'm sure you'd
Yeah.
be able to see it if he does it live or
That'd
if
be
he
cool.
puts it out later.
Well, send me the link. I want to watch it and I want to pass it on. I'll pass it to Mickey because I'm getting ready to call her back, Stevie. I'm gonna tell her you said.
Tell
hello.
her I said hello, and I have the greatest autograph ever
Yeah,
from
that's a
her.
great.
and
That's a
just
that's
a
an
wonderful
all-time story. It's got the ending with the kiss on the kiss at the end. That's a perfect
the whole
story.
thing. It was amazing.
That's got to be made in the movie. That's got to be in the biopic.
Yeah, for
that whole
sure.
sequence.
I mean, that
yeah.
definitely changed my life for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell her
Yeah,
I
we
said
gotta
hi.
put that scene in there for sure. We definitely have to put that scene in there.
That's
Yeah.
fucking hilarious.
All right, so we're gonna work on a track, and we're gonna get back to you as soon as possible.
Yes, of course.
Definitely do. I love you guys and you have a good night.
Thank you.
All right,
you too. I love
Thank
you too.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.